Chapter 91 No one stands in the sky from the beginning, the complete form of Susanoo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91 No one has stood in the sky from the beginning, the perfect Susanoo. Evil eyes, silver-white energy skeleton, the ability to clone, the ability of the thunder fruit, and the attraction and repulsion that he had when he killed the celestial dragon before. Judging from Baiye's currently exposed abilities, there are already 4 abilities that are completely impossible to combine. It has subverted everyone's cognition. Is this the ability of the devil fruit or his unique racial ability? No one was informed. Has there even been such a race in the past 800 years? Even Saint Satan was a little confused. He was in charge of research, and he had studied countless races, but he had never seen anything like Baiye. That Vice Captain Kaido, what kind of ability is the captain? In the distance, Ginny and others were preparing to retreat at any moment. The moment she saw Baiye through the live broadcast, she also felt a little numb. It always feels like I'm hugging my thigh unintentionally. How do I know? And don't add a subtitle in front of my title. Kaido is a little melancholy now. He originally thought that by eating the blue dragon fruit, he might be able to defeat Byakuya, but he didn't expect that Byakuya was still hiding it. He remembered that when he first came to the Rocks Pirates, the whole pirate group was rumored to have Byakuya as the weakest captain. He believed it. After all, everyone said so, and this had their reasons, but now it seems that I have been fooled. You say this is the weakest captain? Kaido subconsciously glanced at Charlotte lingering beside him, always feeling that Baiye was even more powerful than her. At least the sense of oppression displayed by Baiye now was more direct than that on Charlotte Lingling. However, there seems to be something wrong with the woman in front of me, Kaido muttered to himself. Charlotte Lingling's eyes were very similar to the way she looked at him when he first came to the Rocks Pirates. Turning his head to look at the live broadcast, Kaido suddenly understood. It seemed that he had been given up, while Baiye was being targeted. This inevitably made Kaido feel relieved, and at the same time, he couldn't help but feel a flash of schadenfreude in his heart. Kaido, let's make a deal. I'll get your captain drunk when the time comes, and I owe you a big favor. Charlotte Lingling licked the corner of her mouth, and there was a flash of throbbing in her eyes. She must give birth to a child for Baiye. This guy is actually from a special race. You haven't noticed it before. If the child she gave birth to by Baiye could inherit their characteristics, she didn't dare to think how strong this child would be. Hey, how could anyone get their captain drunk? Don't even think about this guy Lingling. I won't betray the captain. Kaido snorted coldly. Who did he think Kaido was? Although Kaido has all the special features of a pirate, at least he will not betray the captain. What's more, maybe he can defeat Baiye and become the captain in the future. If he did such a rebellious thing now, how would Baiye see himself in the future? So you refuse? Charlotte Lingling's eyes flickered, and there was a hint of surprise on her face. She didn't expect Kaido to refuse. She feels like there's no need to refuse, right? He didn't harm Baiye. Maybe Baiye would like this kind of thing. Then I'll have more babies with Baiye. What's more, he's not bad looking, and he's not bad himself. If the other person likes me and can tolerate her having children with other men, then he's a part of this pirate group too. She could also let those kids call him daddy. Of course I refuse. Who would betray the captain? Ginny gave Kaido a thumbs up from the bottom of her heart, although it seemed that the vice-captain was ambitious and wanted to become the captain at any time, and was constantly PUing them, making them think that he would be the captain in the future and Byakuya would be the vice-captain. This matter. But at least he hasn't lost his moral integrity enough to betray the captain. Although Ginny knew that Baiye might not suffer in this kind of thing, but how could it be like this? Overall, Kaido did a great job. She recognized Kaido as the deputy captain. No, I mean you have to pay more. This is betraying the captain. She needs to pay more. But if it were anything else, Kaido would definitely refuse, but he didn't have much burden to get Byakuya drunk. What's more, Baiye's finger might be obsessed with Charlotte Lingling's beauty. This woman is the most beautiful woman in the Rocks Pirates. Her figure and face are totally worthless. How many people in One Piece are obsessed with Charlotte Lingling? it's just that Kaido simply can't accept that this woman wants to give birth to a pirate group, and there are all kinds of weird races. I'm really too naive. Fortunately, I thought Kaido was a moral person before. Ginny lamented her naivety. She originally thought that Kaido would strengthen his heart and would never bow to evil forces, but in the end, he actually asked for more money. No problem, I will find you a devil fruit later, but you have to help me succeed. I won't give it to you if you fail. After Charlotte Lingling finished speaking, Kaido nodded in agreement, and then the two of them turned to look at Ginny and the other three in tacit understanding. Obviously, it would be troublesome for these three people to tip off the information. I think we should ask the captain for his opinion. Ginny weakly raised her hand. Being watched by the two of them, she felt quite stressed. You are still young. You don't understand the lethality of a mature woman to a man. Just watch, little girl. That guy will fall in love with me. No. God will fall in love with you. She meant whether she could tell Bai Yi. If Bai Yi agreed, she would have no objection. Isn't it bad for you to get the other person drunk directly? Ginny, I think she seems to be right. If the captain knew that we stopped him, would he blame us? Ivankov pulled Ginny and immediately dissuaded him, although Charlotte Lingling is taller than Bai Yi, maybe Bai Yi likes this? And she has a good figure and looks very beautiful. Ivankov doesn't understand Charlotte Lingling's dream. He just simply thinks that Charlotte Lingling likes her captain, but the captain may be a little slow or something else, so she is ready to use some special means. From this point of view, she might be the captain's wife and go on board with them in the future. If they offend the captain's wife now, won't they be bullied in the future? Ginny hesitated a little, but finally nodded and agreed not to talk about it. Looking at the glowing eyes of Charlotte Lingling looking at her captain, she must have thought too much. This woman might just like Bai Yi and have no other ideas at all. Don't worry, I won't hurt your captain, but will make him like this kind of thing. Charlotte Lingling also saw the little girl's worries and made her own promise. She just wanted to give Bai Yi a child. She wouldn't take the opportunity to kill Bai Yi after giving birth to a child. Thinking of this, she didn't say anything more and turned to look at the live broadcast screen. 5 against 1, it's really domineering, especially when the 25 Susanoos appeared on the battlefield. Satan Saint and others realized that the silver-white energy giant Bai Yi had before was actually just a prototype. When the fourth form of Susanoo appeared, the 25 Susanoos could be seen faintly not only here, but also in distant places. It's really embarrassing. Bai Yi looked at the battle between the few people and the 25 Susanoos with interest. He began to think in his heart. If I remember correctly, there should be 12 members of the Knights of God. In addition to the one who was fighting with Whitebeard, there were 6 who were currently missing. Bai Yi was also a little alert. In fact, many fruits in the pirate world involve rules. If you are not careful, you can easily be attacked by surprise. He is not afraid of sneak attacks, but the only thing he is most afraid of at present is Seastone. It's a pity that it would be better if the weakness of the devil fruit could be removed. With the physique of the steel balloon here, Bai Yi is not worried about being attacked by surprise at all, and his defense cannot be broken at all, unfortunately. Although Susanoo is strong, the physique of people in this world is indeed not comparable to that of the ninja world. As for the armament hockey, it seems that it will be necessary to integrate the hockey into Susanoo in the future. Bai Yi also had some calculations in his mind. He must attack the inside, and the outside is protected by armament hockey. Forget it, it's almost done, let's start with you. Bai Yi turned his head and looked at the man who attacked him with a hurricane before. His ability seems to be the ability of the hurricane fruit. Bai Yi's clone took advantage of a gap in the attack and slapped him, and then a mark instantly appeared on his body. Sensing the flying thunder god mark, Bai Yi's mouth curled up a smile, and the long sword in his hand was attached with armament hockey. Flying thunder god slash. Danger, that the man felt a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. The next second, he felt as if his heart was pierced by something, and he didn't even have time to use the elemental transformation. He lowered his head to look at the knife that was piercing his heart, and turned his head to Bai Yi behind him in disbelief. How did he do it? 1. Pulling the knife out of his body, Bai Yi took out a fruit and threw it to the clone. Take it and wait not far away. He wanted to see if this fruit would be reborn on his fruit. The clone took the fruit and then quickly left here. Bai Yi then looked at the other clones and said, "It's almost time to play. I want to end this early and let you see the ultimate power of the Uchiha clan." Bai Yi released all the clones. It was still quite physically demanding to open 25 Susanoo 4 forms. Bones began to grow from Bai Yi's body, and then Susanoo also grew larger from its original fourth form, with silver-white wings spread out from its back. Susanoo's 4 hands held 2 swords in the upper 2 hands, a mirror in the lower left hand, and a bow and arrow in the right hand, complete Susanoo. The left sword is the 10-fisted sword, and the mirror in his hand is the 8-foot mirror, which originally belonged to Itachi Susanoo, but it was a treasure sealed by the Uchiha clan, but it was taken away by Uchiha Itachi after the clan was exterminated. After Bai Yi became the clan leader, Bai Yi, who had the Mangekyo, naturally unlocked this thing and took it away. The sword held in his right hand is an item that originally belonged to Byakuya Susanoo. It is a silver-white long sword. The ability to combine divine power is a blade that can cut through space. The bow and arrow are originally held by his kaleidoscope. The marked arrow. The person hit by the arrow will not die, but will be marked by Bai Yi. From then on, his life will be controlled by Bai Yi. Be so strong that the little girl holding the gun opened her mouth and looked at the scene in front of her with some disbelief. The Susanoo just now made her feel like she was overwhelmed with pressure, but now this Susanoo is bigger and has more in his hands. Got some weapons. Are we actually fighting such an enemy? The masked man looked at Susanoo. Looking from his direction, he could barely see Byakuya standing on Susanoo's head when he raised his head. This was the first time that he had doubts about his own fighting ability. Can he really defeat such an enemy? Is this a fantasy beast species? It is no exaggeration to say that it is even more terrifying than the phantom beast, right? His racial abilities? No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look like much. How could it be? This can't be the power of the race at all. What kind of fruit ability are you? Saint Satan looked at Bai Yi, and at this moment he didn't believe that Bai Yi had the so-called racial ability. He also seriously suspected that his judgment was wrong. Maybe Bai Yi was not a user with the thunder fruit ability after all. That's right. You can only be a devil fruit user. At this moment, Saint Satan also seemed to have lost a little of the majesty he had before, and seemed a little out of sorts. He didn't think his judgment was wrong, but was there really such a devil fruit? Doesn't it look more exaggerated than Mika? No matter what kind of devil fruit ability you are, or whether you have racial abilities, I will reveal it after your death. Satan Saint stabilized his mind, and he also realized that he seemed to have lost his temper just now. Don't bluff, it will only show your weakness. Bai Yi said, then looked in the direction of the live broadcast. No one stood in the sky from the beginning, neither you nor me, not even God, but the unbearable window period of the throne of heaven is about to end. From now on, I will be at the top. Is he completely declaring war with those guys? At this moment, everyone couldn't help but stop what they were doing and look at Bai Yi's high-spirited face on the screen. Rox, who was already on the verge of death, couldn't help laughing after hearing Bai Yi's words. Ha ha ha, Bai Yi, you bastard, I really didn't see you wrong, but it's a pity that I can't see where you can go in the end. What a pity. Standing at the top. Rox murmured, and who was far away in the Holy Land, also used that guy at this moment. Looking at the white knight in the picture, he was a little lost in thought. Susanoo / Chapter 92, Rox dies, an era ends, and heroes rise up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 92, Rox dies, the era ends, and heroes rise together. Susanoo's blade directly cut off the space. How powerful is this power? Is it the power of God? This kind of power should be controlled by the Tianlong people. Why do these garbage have this kind of power? Even at this moment, they are not worried about their own lives, but they think that this kind of power should not be controlled by despicable garbage. Ready to retreat. A cold voice sounded faintly in Saint Satan's ear, and after hearing the voice, Saint also understood that Im's move was about to appear. Block this move with all your strength. Saint Satan shouted, and several people used their strongest moves. The Knights of God who had been watching the battle in the live broadcast also hurriedly arrived. In addition to Saint Jolin and 3 other people, the 8 gods, all members of the Knights, are present. The strongest blow of 9 people, the domineering energy is brilliant in the sky, and the weird and powerful fruit abilities are endless. This also makes people feel shocked about the background of the world government. In the past 800 years, the world government has not only relied on the Navy. The Navy is just a violent organization under the world government, and they have many such organizations. The magic circle unfolded from Saint Satan's head, and then quickly spread to the entire island. Hey, it looks like he's leaving. Jolin glanced at Whitebeard unhappily. This hearty battle ended just like this. This guy. Whitebeard looked at Saint Jolin with a gloomy expression, and the wound on his chest was aching faintly at this moment. In the battle just now, although he was injured, he was not feeling well, but the opponent seemed to have no intention of continuing to fight. Instead, he turned his head and looked at the magic circle in the sky. What kind of ability is that? Rox, your era is over. Garp and Roger took advantage of Rox to deal with several other Knights of God, and they hit Rox on the head left and right. At this time, Rox was already at the end of his strength, and he was already unable to dodge the attacks from Garp and Roger. He watched helplessly as 2 pairs of fists wrapped with domineering energy hit him. At this moment, his domineering energy had already been exhausted. As the fist hit Locke's head hard, he suddenly felt a little disappointed. He had failed like this. His ambitions had not been realized yet, and he had not yet seen how far that guy could go. In the picture, Baiye's high-spirited appearance was also imprinted in Rock's mind at this moment. Locke thought about the time when he first went to sea. It seemed like a white knight. At that time, he also believed that the era belonged to newcomers like them, and the old people should roll back into the coffin, which no longer belonged to them. With this belief and extremely high talent, Rox gradually became a strong man of the era and began to dominate this era. At that time, I seemed to be as high-spirited as Baiye, but I didn't expect that not many years had passed. The words I said many years ago, and the bullet fired many years ago, seemed to hit me today. Although the opponent's way of winning was disgraceful, a loss was a loss. In Rock's view, anything he said when he lost was just an excuse. Rox has solved it. Looking at Rox, who had lost his breath, Roger felt a hint of unspeakable sadness for a moment, but before he had time to think about it, he also saw Garp and others also focusing on him. He didn't want to be the second target of siege, so he turned around and ran away. My mission here has been solved. It's time to find my crew, see if there is any treasure, and then leave. However, the tall Susanoo in the distance and the magic circle in the sky also made Roger feel intoxicated. He decided to leave quickly. There was something dirty in the Valley of the Gods. Captain, we found 2 treasure chests. According to the intelligence, does this one contain devil fruit? Real? The Roger pirates were currently surrounding 2 treasure chests, and after seeing Roger's arrival, everyone made way for them. Then they also told Roger about the 2 treasure chests they had just found. Oh. Let me open it and take a look. That were they actually found? According to the information previously obtained, there seem to be 6 treasure chests, and each treasure box contains a devil fruit, right? Looking at it this way, he didn't get 2 fruits. He was still curious about what treasures the Tianlong people would have in their prizes. He opened the 2 treasure chests with his left and right hands respectively, but when he saw that the contents inside the treasure chest were not the devil fruits he expected, but 2 babies, Roger's face immediately fell. What the hell, where are the devil fruits? Why are there 2 kids? A baby with red hair and a baby with blue hair were lying in the treasure box. The moment the treasure box was opened, the children inside also started crying. What to do, Roger? Rayleigh and others did not expect that what was in the treasure chest was not a devil fruit, but 2 babies. But now that it has been opened, you can't leave it behind, or should you just leave it in the Valley of Gods? Take it away, this is our trophy. The one with red hair is called Shanks, and the one with blue hair is called Bucky. From today on, they will be the interns of our Roger pirates. Roger glanced at the 2 babies and grinned, suddenly feeling that it would be good to have 2 more little ones in the pirate group, and now throwing these 2 babies in the Valley of Gods is tantamount to letting them die. as a pirate, it's unreasonable for him to come to a place without even trophies, so he should regard these two children as his trophies. Two baby interns. Jabba glanced at the two babies in Roger's arms and felt that they were quite interesting. Let's go, don't stay in this valley of gods any longer, it always feels like something bad is going to happen. Roger glanced at the sky and had a bad feeling. After saying that, Roger took all the members of the pirate group and left in the opposite direction to where the complete Susanoo was, on the island. As the news spread that Rox had been killed, the Rox pirate group was disheartened, and many people were ready to leave. Jiahaha, that guy Lox is dead. It seems that my time is coming. The golden lion glanced down, then swept away all the people in front of him with a sword, and flew towards the outskirts of the Valley of Gods. Young ones, follow me back to Beehive Island. Wang Ji glanced at the pirates behind him. Since Rox was also dead, there was no point in being here next, he was going to go back and occupy Beehive Island. It didn't make any sense for him to stay here now. Damn, where is the treasure? How come I didn't even find the treasure? Although Captain John already knew the news of Rock's death, he didn't get any treasure in this operation, which made John a little unwilling. Although he knew he was about to retreat, if he didn't find any treasure, why would he leave so easily? Satan Saint, you are really in a sorry state. Your recovery ability seems to be a bit fragile in the face of my slashes. Bai Yi lowered his head and looked at Saint Satan, who had been chopped in half by him. His upper body and lower body had also been separated, and Saint Satan was already on the verge of death at this moment. The battlefield was already in a mess. Saint Satan was the most seriously injured, and other members of the Knights of God were also more or less seriously injured. At this moment, they are staring at Bai Yi. If Bai Yi is still prepared to continue fighting, then they will sacrifice themselves to drag Bai Yi here, waiting for that move to kill everyone here. Just when Bai Yi was about to finish off, a dazzling white light in the sky was falling rapidly towards the island. Seeing this scene, a trace of surprise flashed in Bai Yi's eyes. Was this Yim's move? Looking at Saint Satan, he was basically half dead at this moment. His body that was cut off by the space could not be put back together. Part of it was swallowed by the space. His current phantom beast species was just reviving it. Just as Bai Yi was preparing to make a last-ditch attack just to be on the safe side, Bai Yi saw that Satan Xing's body was constantly being repaired. Even if it was cut off by space, it could still be repaired. This recovery ability, Bai Kuya's eyes lit up when he saw it. He controlled the bow and arrow in Susanoo's hand, and then shot an arrow directly into the heart of Saint Satan. Saint sensed something, but because of being struck by Bai Kuya's sword, his spirit became stronger. He didn't notice the slight distraction, he subconsciously wanted to resist, but at this moment he no longer had the ability to resist. Then, two spells appeared in Saint Satan's heart and brain. After the marking was completed, a smile flashed at the corner of Bai Yi's mouth. Saint Satan, who has such strong recovery power, will make his own blood pack from now on. As long as you don't have enough physical strength, you can draw Saint Satan's physical strength. As long as your vitality is not enough, you can also draw Saint Sartan. If he wanted to turn against Tiangang and kill himself, then he would drain Saint Satan's life force instantly. Look at it this way, he could only obediently become his own puppet. Then, Bai Yi glanced at the light that was falling rapidly in the sky. There was no time to stay too long. He had more important things to do. He turned off the live broadcast, dismissed Susanoo, and came to the battlefield where Rox was. At this moment, everyone retreated. Only Rox still stood in the middle of the battlefield, but he also lost his life. Put Rox's body in the coffin and put it into the divination space. Then he quickly found old John. Idiot, if you leave, you will die if you continue to stay here. This is really life-threatening. Still looking for treasure here. White Knight. Come on, this island will be completely destroyed. Don't worry about your treasures. If you don't leave, I will inherit all the treasures from you. What the hell? I think of you as a brother, and you are playing tricks with your brother. Old John was reluctant to leave at first, but after hearing Bai Yi say that after his death, Bai Yi would inherit all his treasures, so he decided not to do that. He had collected this for most of his life, and was it harvested directly by Bai? This is not possible. Gone. But with that said, Bai put his arm on Captain John's shoulders, and the two teleported to where Kaido and others were. The Valley of the Gods is going to be destroyed, let's go. Originally, Kaido had to leave a long time ago, but because he wanted to see if Byakuya could still come here, if he couldn't come, then he would naturally become the captain. It's a pity that Bai is here, and now he can only leave with Bai honestly. Ding. Change the fate of Saint Satan, and reward a chance to draw a lottery. Ding. Change the fate of Kaido, and reward a chance to draw a lottery. Ding. Change the fate of Kuma, and reward a chance to draw a lottery. 3 chances to draw a lottery. Bai was a little surprised. He thought Captain John could also give him a chance to draw a lottery, but thinking about it, he felt it was normal. After all, John was not a very important character in the original work, and even only appeared in the legend of the anime, so naturally this would not be considered as changing the trajectory of important characters. There were 3 times in total, which seemed pretty good for him. In the magic circle, Saint Satan gradually regained consciousness. Although he always felt that something seemed different about himself, he didn't have time to think about it at this moment, and moved all the people who belonged to them in the magic circle away. With Im's destructive blow, the entire island of God's Valley disappeared in an instant, and then a huge underwater vortex began to flow under the hit God's Valley, and the island completely became history. Looking from afar, Bai was also a little emotional at the moment when he looked at the disappeared island. Sensing the physical strength that was constantly recovering in his body, Bai suddenly felt a little fortunate that he did not kill Satan Saint but marked him. What can I get by killing Satan Saint? It seems that I can get nothing. But I marked him, so he is my blood bag, worthy of being good at recovery in the animal system. He was so happy when he extracted the vitality and physical strength of Satan Saint, and Satan Saint, who had returned to the Holy Land, was frowning, sensing the physical strength that was constantly flowing away in his body, and he felt a little weird. It seems that the ability of this magic circle did not consume so much physical strength before. Is it because I was cut in half before and consumed too much? Draw. Bai said silently in his heart, and then the lottery turntable began to turn rapidly. Ding. The lottery is completed. Congratulations on winning. Listen to the voice of all things. Devil fruit side effect elimination scroll, top armament hockey. These 3. It seems to be pretty good for Bai at the moment. His armament hockey directly entered the ranks of the strong, and the side effects of the devil fruit were eliminated at this moment. At the same time, he also had the ability to listen to the voice of all things, which is the standard of Roger and Luffy. This ability does not belong to the ranks of domineering, it seems to be born with it, which is rarer than the domineering hockey. Chapter 93 The Bounty Order That Shocked the Sea, the White Knight That Became Popular. Happy New Year. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 93, The Bounty Order That Shocked the Sea, by Yi Who Became a Hot Commodity. Happy New Year QAQ. Satan Saint really looked bad this time. Nasu Sholang Saint looked at Satan Saint. They had all watched the live broadcast just now, and Im also asked them to go together. Then there was the issue of the failure of the Battle of God Valley. That's right. In their view, God Valley was a complete failure. If it weren't for Bai Ye's incident, the celestial dragons would have been transferred away, and some of the secrets of the world government would not have been exposed. Similarly, the killing of celestial dragons would not have been known to everyone, and Satan Saint and the Knights of God would not have been suppressed by Bai Yi, so killing rocks was actually a victory for them. However, Bai Yi finally won with a huge advantage. If it weren't for the attack of Lord Im at the end, I'm afraid they would all have died in Bai Ye's hands. That guy is too weird. Satan's face was gloomy. Although he knew that this was suspected of being an excuse, he did think that the reason for losing this time was not only because of himself, but also because Bai Ye's ability was too weird. If it was just him, he felt that he could not explain it, but with the addition of 8 members of the Knights of God, they were still defeated by Bai Yi, and even almost killed. This was a problem. The 8 of them together were at least 2.5 generals. As a result, Bai Yi almost overturned them with one move. Between the flowers, Yim was sitting on the void throne and looking calmly at the 5 elders kneeling on the ground in front of him. He could not see any emotion at this moment. For this matter, it was not only because of Satan, but the other 4 people were actually sweating in their hearts, and their decision-making was also wrong. Lord Yim, I am willing to accept any punishment. Satan was silent for a while, and he knew very well in his heart that it was meaningless for him to escape at this time he needs to take the main responsibility. That guy is not dead. The world government can just ignore this matter for a while, but I want to catch him. Him is not going to hold Satan Saint responsible. He actually saw it all. Satan Saint is no match for that guy. All kinds of weird abilities have caused the people of the Knights of God to suffer. It is meaningless to talk about Satan Saint at this time, and now for him, he cares more about whether he can catch a living Bai Yi. That guy is not easy to catch. At first, I thought my immobilization ability could restrain his thunder fruit, but he can still move even if I immobilize him, and I don't know what kind of ability he is or whether he is a special race. Satan Saint expressed his own views. The first reason for this failure is that they are not strong enough, and the second is that they don't know what kind of ability Bai Yi is, and the intelligence is completely blank. That guy doesn't look like a devil fruit ability user. Can he eat many devil fruits? After Peter Saint said this, no one on the scene spoke. No matter what he is, as long as we catch him, we will know everything. In fact, there is no need to guess whether Bai Yi is a special race or a multi-devil fruit ability user. As long as they catch Bai Yi, they can study it. Now we can record the known abilities first, and then continue to investigate them, and then slowly find opportunities. That guy will reveal his flaws sooner or later. If he is a devil fruit ability user, then we can catch him with Seastone, and if we can build a Seastone cage, then he may not be able to break it, not to mention we have other means. Satan Saint said hurriedly. In his opinion, Seastone is the best way to get rid of Bai Yi. Then find an opportunity to arrange some people to lurk in his pirate group. The Rock's pirates should fall apart later, and we have plenty of time to wait. From this point of view, they don't seem to need to rush at all. Sir Im, are you going to arrange a bounty? Although Bai Yi was the captain of the 4th Division of the Rock's pirates before, he had never taken action, so they did not offer a bounty to Bai Yi for the time being. When the other party was in the Sabaody archipelago, they had set a bounty, but it was not announced, and Bai Yi caused another big incident. Now, the bounty for Bai Yi needs to be carefully considered. 2.5 billion Baileys, plus each of the 19 celestial dragons will take out 100 million Baileys as an additional reward. The bounty is 2.5 billion Baileys. If the extra is counted, it will be 4.4 billion. The first bounty order was more than 4 billion, and this was the first time for the world government. No one has ever had such an honor. The bounty order has been issued, and only a live capture is allowed. Im is very interested in Bai Yi now. By the way, has Rock's body been recovered? Im suddenly thought of a question. It seems that Rock's body was not brought back. No, he was taken away by Bai Yi. Rock's had just died not long ago, and they did not take Rock's body with them. Bai Yi took action before my magic circle was transferred. Satan Saint felt a little sorry. He had originally planned to use the magic circle to transfer him away, but he did not expect Bai Yi to take Rock's body away in advance. What is that guy's purpose? Im thought deeply, but he couldn't figure out why he did this. He felt that Bai Yi's style of doing things was unpredictable. Similarly, they probably have to suppress the rebellion recently. In order to maintain the dignity of the world government, they need to do something. By the way, there is a scientist who seems to be quite good recently. I want to absorb him into our world government, but I can observe him before that. Who? Vegapunk. After discussing some things, I'm arranged for several people to deal with the matters at hand. On the Navy side, after seeing the wanted order issued by the world government, the whole person was numb. Such a high reward was given. Garp picked up the wanted order in his hand and pinched his nose, saying with some emotion that he didn't expect that Rox had just died and another one appeared, and it's not just Bai Yi, the bounty of all the living people in the Rox pirates has increased. Moreover, except for Silver Axe and Rox, all other cadres are still alive in this operation. He can already imagine what the new world will be like in the future. Garp, the current situation is not good news for us. The authority of the world government is constantly declining. Steelbone Sora glanced at Garp. Today he got two pieces of news, one about the bounty order for Bai Yi and the other about Garp. Isn't it the guys themselves who did it? The celestial dragons are indeed the same as what Bai Yi said, they are all garbage, Garp said with a trace of disdain on his face. He himself did not look down on the celestial dragons. If most of the pirates were not burning, killing and looting, he actually did not want to join the navy. Joining the navy, he wants to uphold his own justice. The world government is going to give you all the credit for the elimination of rocks this time. Roger has appeared on the pirate side. The navy needs a spiritual pillar like Bai Yi. Steelbone Sora ignored Garp and told him the decision of the world government. Garp was a bit indifferent at first, but after hearing what Kong said, his face changed immediately. I didn't kill Rocks by myself, give me this credit. It's shameful to say that Rocks was not killed by him alone, but by the Knights of God and Roger. He would probably be killed by Rocks alone, right? It's inconvenient for the Knights of God to appear. Although the live broadcast has been exposed, the public does not know who these people are. The world government will also control public opinion to make the world forget them, and Roger is even less likely to appear. We can't publicize the fact that the Navy and pirates cooperated to kill a pirate, and this matter can only be done by you in the end, that the Knights of God are the personal guards of the celestial dragons, so it is naturally impossible for them to appear in the newspaper, and Roger, as a pirate, is naturally impossible. The world government now needs to cover up the matter of the Valley of Gods. Now the impact caused by Bai Yi is too great, this also requires someone to stand up. Then, Garp, who participated in killing Rocks this time, became the best choice. First, release the bounty order of Bai Yi. At the same time, Garp, you are the hero of the Navy from today. As Bai Yi's bounty order was released to the world, at this moment, people all over the world stared blankly at the bounty order in front of them. They never thought that a pirate who had just debuted not long ago, although he was in the Rocks Pirates at the beginning, had never had a record. At the same time, the news that Rocks was killed by Garp also spread like wildfire, and the momentum was even greater than that of Bai Yi. After Morgan's tossing, although this matter was broadcast live, the foundation controlled by the world government still exists. For 800 years, it is also very simple for them to control public opinion, although it is not so easy to eliminate the impact for the time being. But they can make people dilute these things more and more, because there are not many ways to communicate between islands, and they can slowly forget about this matter. Morgans was also warned by the world government, and was asked to move the newspaper in a direction that was favorable to the world government. In exchange, the world government would not pursue the previous matters. Morgans was naturally happy about this. His newspaper was already on the right track. The world government needed his strength, and he could not offend the world government too much. It was indeed difficult for the world government to find trouble with him, but it was not impossible. On a deserted island, several members of the Rocks Pirates were gathered here, even Wang Ji, who was shouting that he wanted to disband and go back to occupy the Beehive Island, did not leave here for the time being. Bai Yi, do you want to consider it? I can give you a good experience. In the air, Charlotte Lingling, who was standing on Zeus, licked the corner of her mouth, with an unconcealed thought in her eyes. She did not see what happened in the end, but now she just wanted to take down Bai Yi and have a few children. No, I'm not interested. Several captains sat together, although they knew that Charlotte Lingling seemed to be full of interest in themselves because of the previous battle, but in order to avoid being framed, Bai Yi decided not to have any involvement with Charlotte Lingling. Maybe he could use the idea that he was just trying it out and was not responsible for Charlotte Lingling, but Bai Yi just felt a little disgusted. If this woman was wholehearted, Bai Yi actually liked her appearance. At least now she had grown to his heart and was indeed worthy of being the most beautiful female pirate of this era. Hey, Bai Yi, you really stole the show this time. You were actually offered a bounty of 2.5 billion and 1.9 billion separately. Golden Lion felt a little bitter in his heart. Although he also increased his bounty a lot this time, it was still a lot worse than Bai Yi, who had just debuted. Bai Yi is now fighting to the death with the world government, and you have been hiding your strength before, right? Wang Ji said, looking at Bai Yi with some dissatisfaction. This bastard must not have used his full strength when fighting with him before. If we look at the combat power shown by God Valley, how much combat power did he use when fighting with him before? Gulala, such a strange ability, let's just disperse now, right? Although Whitebeard was very curious about Bai Yi's ability and race, he also knew what he should say and what he couldn't say at this time. It was a taboo to ask about the other party's ability, which was also the tacit understanding maintained by the people present, but he also raised the issue that everyone was most concerned about, which was to disband. Except for the one that originally belonged to Rox himself, the rest of the Rox pirates were all big pirates in the New World. Except for Bai Yi, who had no reputation at the beginning and became the captain by responding to Rox first, the rest of the people joined for the sake of interests. Originally, when Rox was still alive, perhaps this pirate group would disband, but there would be a pirate alliance, but with the death of Rox, there was no one to pressure them, and now everyone was in a state of no one obeying anyone, so it was normal for the Rox pirates to disband. Bai Yi, let's form a pirate group together. Golden Lion looked at Bai Yi with burning eyes. He wanted to win Bai Yi over to join him. Momomo, Bai Yi, let's create a pirate group together. Let's go back to Beehive Island together. I believe the world government won't dare to come. Fuck. Don't you take me seriously? These are my beloved relatives and friends. You just ignore my invitation to my friends. Undoubtedly, Bai Yi has become the favorite of everyone present. P.S. I wish you all a happy new year, and may you all be rich in the new year QAQ. Chapter 94, The Rox Pirates are invincible when together and are like stars in the sky when apart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 94, The Rox Pirates are invincible when together and stars in the sky when apart. Entering Wano country. Sorry, I have already established my own pirate group. If you are interested, you can join my pirate group. Although he knew that they all had their own ambitions and the probability of joining his pirate group was not high, Bai Yi felt that it didn't matter if he said a word. In fact, it would be nice if Charlotte Linlin could fool around. It was a pity that he had been led astray by the long bread a long time ago. Moreover, she also had the secret of the nun. It was unclear whether the nun existed in her body. This was tantamount to a time bomb. In addition, this woman was now greedy for his body to give birth to a child for him all the time. He didn't dare to let Charlotte Linlin stay by his side. TSK, your current situation is not as simple as forming a pirate group by yourself. You have also thoroughly offended the world government, right? Golden Lion curled his lips. After he knew that Bai Yi had established his own pirate group, he had no intention of recruiting Bai Yi. After all, being able to form your own pirate group means that you will not be inferior to others. Where are the others? Golden Lion looked around and felt that his question was a bit nonsense. It seems that only Rox can bring these monsters together. I want to form my own pirate group, and I want to realize my dream. Whitebeard looked into the distance. He wanted to have a family, so he decided. Golden Lion, don't look at me. I won't be in a pirate group with you. I want a pirate group composed of my family, Charlotte Linlin said, and her eyes continued to look at Bai Yi. Obviously, she still thought that Bai Yi was the best father of the child. Listening to her words, Golden Lion curled his lips in disdain. Among all the people here, he least wanted the ant to get on the ship. This woman has a problem with her brain. I have decided to go back to Beehive Island. I guess you guys don't like that place, right? Wang Ji looked at several people and announced the ownership of Beehive Island to them. I won't be trapped on an island, John snorted disdainfully. Only Wang Ji regarded Beehive Island as important. He still had to search for treasures all over the world. How could he stay on an island? Is the pirate group disbanded? Then I will go back to Amazon. Guroliosa decided to go back to Nine Snake Island. Since the pirate group was also disbanded, it seemed that there was no point in staying here. Whitebeard, have you really decided? Miss Bakine looked at Whitebeard with gloomy eyes. She thought Whitebeard would not be so stupid. if he really made this decision, she would leave Whitebeard without hesitation. Gulala, Bakeen, everyone has their own dreams. Then let's go our separate ways. Bakeen looked gloomy and looked at Whitebeard angrily. Obviously, she was also very angry about Whitebeard's decision. So it's decided? We may be enemies next time we meet. Golden Lion glanced at everyone. Since everyone had a place to go, he was ready to leave. After Rox died, he was ready to start recruiting soldiers in the new world. He wanted to become, or even surpass Rox. He wanted to become the Pirate King. Similarly, after this disbandment, they might become enemies in the future. Then let's go our separate ways. I'm leaving. As soon as the words fell, Golden Lion and Whitebeard stood up and left. Then Ba Jean also looked at Whitebeard's back and left the Rox pirates angrily. Everyone, I'm leaving then. Gyurolioza bowed, then stood up and left. Bai Yi, I'll wait for you on Beehive Island. Later, I hope you can find me for a decisive battle and fight with pure swordsmanship. He also left. Bai Yi, bring Kaido to me later. I have something that everyone wants. Read historical text. This is what Charlotte Linlin got by chance. If you want to become the Pirate King, you must get it, and since Bai Yi wants to be an enemy of the world government, he should be interested in the final island, right? She is not afraid of Bai Yi coming to find her. As everyone left, except Kaido and Captain John, everyone else took their people with them. From then on, the Rox pirates, which dominated an era, were completely disbanded. That woman is really a thief who is not dead. Bai Yi muttered, then looked at Captain John and asked, Old John, do you want to join my pirate group? This is the second time Bai Yi asked. The first time was on Beehive Island, but he did not give himself an answer. I want to be the richest pirate, so I don't have time to play this game with you. I know where the Golden Country is. Brother, I'm kidding. You know, we are like brothers. How could I refuse your invitation? I decided to bring my talent to your pirate group. Old John was a little resistant at first. After all, after joining Bai Ye's pirate group, he would not have the opportunity to search for treasures freely, but Bai Yi knew the whereabouts of the Golden Country, that is the legendary treasure that can make you rich enough to rival a country. It's really fast to change your face. Ginny glanced at John and said something in her heart, but she also had some understanding of the personalities of everyone on the ship. John is probably a money-grubbing guy, but judging from Bai Ye's invitation, he should be considered a reliable person. Judging from previous contacts, Kaido covets the position of captain, but he has some credibility. At the same time, because he may have the opportunity to become a captain in the future, Kaido also takes good care of the three of them. Bai Yi currently seems to be very strong and ambitious, but he seems to be quite easy to get along with. Bai Yi, do you have any plans next? Kaido asked in a low voice. Now that they have completely offended the world government, they will definitely face endless pursuit. This is crazy, and Kaido is actually very happy. Like Bai Yi, Kaido now has more hatred in his heart than some benefits. He still remembers that he was betrayed by his country to the world government. At the same time, he is also very aware that the world government still wants to arrest him, so isn't he the one who wants to be the enemy of the world government now? Of course we are going to the Golden Land. Old John quickly put forward his opinions, and he all joined in. There was no way he wouldn't go to the Golden Land, right? No, we won't go to the Golden Township for the time being. The gold in the Golden Township cannot be taken away by others. We are going to a slightly more hidden place. Our overall strength is still too weak at the moment. Bai Yi is not afraid of the world government, but if he goes to sea, the other party will most likely attack the crew. Kaido and Old John all have the ability to save lives, but Ginny, Ivankov and Big Bear don't have much fighting ability. Currently, your strength is still too weak. My dream is to overthrow the celestial dragons and pull them off that throne. There should not be slaves in this world. Everyone and every race should be born equal. The world is sick. I want to change the world. It is inevitable that we will become enemies with them, and your current strength is too weak. In fact, what Bai Yi said was half true and half false. He really wanted to change the world, but he couldn't actually make everyone and every race equal when they were born. so he could only try his best to follow this. He doesn't want to be a celestial dragon. On the one hand, he wants to change the plot and get rewards. After traveling to this world and getting the golden finger, Bai Yi regards this world as his own. What rules should this world run by? Naturally it should be up to him. He wants to completely change the world. Make the world equal. Ginny, Big Bear and Ivankov couldn't help but light up after hearing this. They were slaves themselves, so they naturally agreed with what Bai Yi said. There is also a little more recognition for Bai Yi. Although Kaido feels that such a dream is a bit too big, what he is interested in is not this, but that it can start a huge war. After experiencing the Battle of the Valley of the Gods and being involved in this incident, he had actually always had a plan in his mind to plan a war that would be even bigger than the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, and Bai Ye's dream seems to coincide with the dream in his heart. He wants to destroy this false world. I don't care, but you should be able to give me that treasure, right? That there should be a lot of treasures from the world government, right? Captain John also began to imagine that after White Knight took over the world government, would this treasure belong to him? Ever since, the 5 people unanimously further agreed with the choice of joining the pirate group. The expressions of the 5 of them fell into Bai Ye's eyes. He was also very satisfied at the moment. Mouth escape was indeed the most effective when based on strength. By the way, should we choose a name for the pirate group? Breaking Dawn. Let's call it the Dawn Pirates. The transition from night to day also heralds the beginning of a new day. A new day, a new order, darkness dissipates and dawn arrives, daybreak. It seems similar to what Bai Yi did. The next stop is for us to go to Wano country. Byakuya had hesitated before whether to go to Sky Island or Wano country. There are very few people in the world government on Sky Island and they will basically not be involved in Sky Island. The same is true for Wano country. Wano country is still in a state of blockade. It is actually very difficult to enter the interior. Whether the information is leaked, or if people from the world government want to come in, it will be very difficult. This is also what Byakuya thinks is the best hiding place, and the country of Wano has a high combat effectiveness and also has various sea tower stones and so on, but this time Byakuya was not prepared to seek cooperation with the Haiten family. He had made the entire Wano country a mess. He wants to manage it himself. As for Odin, get out of here too. From today on, Wano country belongs to him. Where are you going? I don't know what's going on there right now. Why do we want to go in? It doesn't seem to be easy to go in. Old John had a sullen face. Although he felt that Bai Ye's proposal was a good one, it was not that simple for them to enter Wano country. Isn't there someone who can take us in? Who? Kaido asked subconsciously. Haiten Muchan, she is from the country of Wano, and she is also a member of the Haiten family, the criminals of the country of Wan. The God Valley incident happened 38 years before the plot began, and 41 years ago, Kurazumi Murasaki found Kurazumi Orochi, after which she went out to sea and joined the Rocks Pirates. 28 years before the plot began, she invited Kaido to cooperate with her to enter Wano country, and now she is not ready to wait until that day, and will go there in advance to take over Wano country. That woman. A trace of surprise flashed across Kaido's face. He had seen that woman, the one with the ability of the imitation fruit, but he didn't expect that she was actually from Wano country. Has Kurazumi Murasaki left? Old John glanced at the people in the crowd who were ready to retreat. After discovering that Kurazumi Murasaki did not seem to have left, he was about to call her, but was stopped by Bai Yi. No need to call her back. As long as she goes back, we can go with her. Now we ask them to take us to Wano country, she won't agree. Bai Ye's mouth flashed a smile. When Kurazumi Muchan touched him, he wanted to use the ability of the mimicry fruit to copy himself. Similarly, when he touched her, he also marked the Flying Thunder God mark on her arm. As long as she arrived in Wano country, he could go directly there, and now she also has to go back to Wano country. With the situation of Orochi, I believe she also wants to go back to see what's going on, right? After the Rocks Pirates were disbanded, the former crew members also set off a bloody storm in the New World. The Roger Pirates also arrived in the New World. At the same time, the world government was looking for news about Bai Yi all the time, but Bai Yi seemed to have disappeared. There was no news about Bai Yi at all. Wano country. Kurazumi Muchan and Kurazumi Shanmura returned to Wano country again. Looking at the vortex, the two naturally knew how to go back. There is a dark cave in Wano country, which is one of the ways to enter, and another way is to enter through the carp. Not long after the two of them left, Bai Yi brought people to the outside of Wano country. Let's go through the dark cave. Bai Yi glanced at the direction where Kurazumi Muchan left, and also called on several people to leave with him. There were many people at the location of the dark cave at this moment. Kurazumi Muchan used the ability of the mimic fruit ability to easily fool them, and Bai Yi directly used the illusion of the Sharingan to trap them in the illusion and followed them in. After Bai Yi and others left, a figure was coming out of the dark cave. Strange, did this group of people really not find me today? After passing through the dark cave unimpeded, the moment he left Wano country, Odin felt that he was finally free. Although he didn't know why it was so easy this time, he finally left Wano country. Chapter 95, Momonosuke dies. Gather all 34 of the 4 Emperor's special abilities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 95, Momonosuke dies. Collect the special abilities of the 4 Emperors 34. What did you say? Odin, the rebellious son, left Wano country. When Kazuki Sukiyaki learned that Odin had left Wano country, he was instantly furious. This rebellious son. Ah! I thought I had to get rid of one more person. What a pity. Who? Kazuki Sukiyaki turned his head and looked outside the door, a combination of 3 adults and 3 children. Kaido, get rid of this guy, and then get rid of Kurazumi's group of guys. Bai Yi turned his head and was a little disappointed. If he came at this time, it seemed that Odin was only a teenager and ran away, which also made him feel a little boring, and it was also simple for Kaido and Old John to deal with this group of people, but it might be a little difficult to take over Wano country later. Ginny looked at Bai Yi's back, quickly caught up with him, then gritted her teeth and looked at Bai Yi firmly and asked, Captain Bai Yi, is this a bit cruel? She knew that as a crew member, she should not question her captain. But from Bai Yi's methods, he seemed to be ready to eliminate Kazuki and Kuroden. Ginny, you are too naive. Bai Yi turned his head and looked at Ginny, with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. But, Ginny, don't forget that your identity is a slave, and they are nobles. Go and see the situation in Wano country before talking to me. If the understanding is different, then Bai Yi will not hesitate to give up Ginny, even Big Bear. Little girl, it seems that you have made the captain angry this time. Old John grinned, watching Kaido slaughtering Kazuki. He had no intention of intervening. The main thing is to ensure that no one leaves. Looking at Bai Yi's back, Old John couldn't help thinking that Bai Yi might be disappointed this time. Why do you do this? Isn't the captain's dream to change the world? To make the world equal, why does the captain do this? Ginny turned her head and looked at Old John. She was puzzled as to why Bai Yi did this. Yes, isn't he changing the world now? Old John said, looking at the puzzled eyes of Ginny and the other 3, he continued to explain, you don't know Wano country, so let me tell you about it. As a great pirate in the New World, John naturally knew something about Wano country, and he sneered at Ginny's childish idea. Wano country is a country where the monarchy is granted by God. The monarch has supreme power and inherits the hereditary system. The power of Wano country has always belonged to the Kazuki clan, who hold the positions of generals and daimyo. Wano country also divides people into different classes. You were a slave before, and you actually empathize with a noble. In the final analysis, Bai Yi did this to use Wano country as the first experimental site to make everyone here equal, right? Then on this basis, these nobles have become Bai Yi's first target to solve. You should go to Wano country and see for yourself. Old John shrugged. For Ginny's naive idea, he could only say one word, that is, he was beaten too few times by reality, and he didn't understand that you have to kill some people, otherwise they will always exist. This is also very unfavorable to Bai Yi's plan, which is why Bai Yi was ready to attack several nobles the moment he came. I know, sorry. Ginny's face flashed with guilt. She didn't think so much before, but she felt that Bai Yi seemed to have violated her dream, but now she understood that if all this was really the same as John said, then wouldn't the nobles in Wano country be the same as the celestial dragons? She seemed to understand what Bai Yi was going to do. You shouldn't apologize to me. John took a sip of wine, shook his head and said meaningfully. This kind of apology shouldn't be said to him. Ginny, let's go see the situation in Wano country, and then apologize to the captain. Ivankov pulled Ginny and said. Well, let's wait until things here are over and go together. Looking at the direction where Bai Yi left, thinking of Bai Ye's disappointed eyes before, Ginny felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. She didn't expect that it had only been a short time, and Bai Yi was disappointed in her. It seemed that she really didn't understand what Bai Yi meant. Hey, young man, you seem to be very distressed. Can you tell me what time it is now? Just as Bai Yi was walking alone in the forest, a voice behind him interrupted Bai Ye's thoughts. When? Bai Ye's heart flashed with a trace of surprise. He didn't even notice that someone was behind him. Turning around and looking at the person in front of him, Bai Yi was even more shocked. Tianyuesher. Isn't this, wait. She traveled through the world and came here. Logically speaking, the timeline that Tianyuesher traveled through should be when she met Odin. Suddenly Bai Yi seemed to think of something, unless there is only one possibility, that is, she has been traveling all the time, but she is just looking for the timeline, according to the description of Tianyuesher that I have seen before, although she has never left Wano country, for some unknown reason, she has to go to the future Wano country to change the future. And Bai Yi probably understands that it may be to establish Wano country, or to let Wano country help Nika, anyway, no matter. What the reason is, Tianyuesher probably doesn't know the specific timeline, but is constantly traveling and trying. Her time fruit can only travel to the future and not back to the past, so Tianyuesher has always been very careful about traveling, and will not travel such a long time at once. And Bai Yi suddenly had a new idea. His timeline is too late. The Sea King has not been born yet, Nika has not appeared, and it will take a long time for Roger to become the Pirate King. If he wants to change the fate of others, he will be very old by then. Although he can wait, if Tianyuesher helps him to travel through time and space, he can travel to a timeline and then participate in something. When there is nothing, he can continue to let Tianyuesher take him to travel. He knows the timeline. Moreover, he cannot be the Pirate King, but Momonosuke must die. Now Odin has gone to sea inexplicably because of his arrival, and Tianyuesher was met by him again. Since he couldn't meet his father and mother, he didn't believe that Momonosuke could still appear, so he killed Momonosuke directly from the physical level. And Odin, that guy with a bad brain, was not worthy of Tianyushi in Bai Ye's opinion. He started going in and out of red light districts at the age of 6, and kidnapped women every night when he was 15. But this disgusting behavior really made Bai Yi feel that Momonosuke was probably inherited from Odin. Later, he resolutely went to sea despite his family's opposition, leaving the entire Wano country behind, and letting Wano country fall under the rule of Kaido and Orochi. At the same time, he said that he admired Whitebeard and got on the ship shamelessly, but when he met Roger later, he wanted to follow Roger directly, without caring about Whitebeard's face. To put it bluntly, although he was only away for a year, this kind of behavior of getting off the ship directly to other pirate groups, if it were other pirates, Whitebeard would turn against him on the spot, which means that Whitebeard and Roger have a good relationship. Later, he did not even fulfill his promise. He did not return to the Whitebeard pirates after a year, but went back to Wano country directly. After returning to Wano country, he started a series of brain-dead behaviors. He did not duel with Kaido, but danced every day. Even when Ryoma's tomb was robbed, he was still dancing. In Bai Ye's view, this series of self-touching disgusting behaviors completely failed to understand the meaning of such a person's existence. He betrayed his country and took risks on the sea when the country needed him most. He betrayed his people. The things he did when he was young were simply too crazy. The subsequent dancing incident made everyone disappointed in him. He betrayed his captain and did not fulfill the one-year agreement, but went back directly. For this kind of person, Bai Yi suddenly thought of Itachi in the Naruto world. One of these two guys directly exterminated the clan, and the other, although he did not directly exterminate the country, indirectly led to the tragedy of Wano country later. In comparison, Tianyuesher is stronger than Odin no matter where he is compared. Coupled with Tainyushi's devil fruit, this further strengthened the idea of luring Tainyushi to join his pirate group. Now it is 1480 in the Sea Circle calendar. So, it seems that it is not the time. Tainyushi muttered, and was ready to leave here, thinking that the current time is probably not the time, and he was about to go to the next timeline. Baiye's words also made her stunned. Do you want to open up Wano country or wait for Nika to appear? That he actually didn't know what Tainyushi's purpose was, but she probably only had these two. After hearing Baiye's words, Tainyushi couldn't help but turn his head to Baiye in shock. How do you know? After she ate the time fruit, there was always a voice driving her to go to the future, because there were some things she needed to change, but when exactly, even Tainyushi himself was not very clear. She only knew that Wano country might be destroyed in the future, and she needed to save Wano country and help Nika while opening it. Because I am the one you are waiting for. Fate told me to wait for you here. How did Baiye know? Of course he guessed. But Tianyuesher was relatively innocent. Baiye had thought of a way to seduce her. Are you the one I am waiting for? Tianyuesher stared at Baiye in disbelief. Logically, this shouldn't be the case, but from how Baiye knew her, she felt that there was no need for him to lie. She came here many years ago. If Baiye was not the one assigned to her by fate, how could he know all this and say it was arranged by fate? It's not you who is waiting, but I am waiting for you. I am preparing to change Wano country. I will purge the nobles in Wano country. I will not do anything to those who are willing to become civilians, but I want to achieve true equality here, so that all ordinary people can have food to eat, and there will be no slaves in Wano country. I want to change Wano country and then radiate it to the whole world, but now is the wrong time, so fate arranged for us to meet. I will need your strength later. Tainyushi, become my partner, and we will change the world together. After speaking, Baiye stretched out his hand in front of Tainyushi. She was also stunned by this set of theories, and subconsciously stretched out her hand and shook hands with Baiye. When Baiye said these words, she actually agreed with Baiye. Are you Nika? No, I am not a Nika. Maybe there has never been a Nika, or maybe everyone is a Nika. As long as he wants to change the world and make all races equal, then he is a Nika, just like you. It's also changing. You are also Nika. Nika does not refer to a person, but a spirit. But now is not the best time. Without you, I have to wait for the appearance of Neptune, but with you, we can rewrite all of this, and join my pirate group, Tianyuesher. Do you even know her name? Tianyue Toki is very clear that he has never told anyone his name since he traveled through time and space, and so many years have passed, and no one in Wano will remember him at all. Perhaps it was really fate that arranged for Baiye to meet him, a person who understands his own past, his own name, and his own dreams. This timeline that is hundreds of years apart is here. If you say it is not an arrangement of fate, she will not believe it. And Baiye is right, as long as you want to change the world, then everyone is a Nika. Well, please give me some advice, Captain. Tianyuesher nodded seriously. Although she always felt that something was wrong, but after thinking about it, she felt that this was a gift from fate. It seemed that there was no need for her to continue traveling through time and space. She seemed to have found the person she needed to find. She decided to stay in this era and change the world together with Baiye, and Baiye also said before that he would first change the country of Waji. Although Tianyue belongs to the Tianyue family, she also agrees with Baiye's point of view, and the relationship between people are equal. Ding! Change the fate of Kazuki Momonosuke and be rewarded with a lottery chance. Very good. Momonosuke must die. This immediately made it impossible for Momonosuke to be born. And this time he also got Tianyue, and Baiye was looking forward to her fruit power. After that, I have a lot more room for maneuver, and Baiye is now in a much better mood. Use the draw. Ding! Use a lottery opportunity and congratulations on getting Ghost Physique. What the hell? What a surprise. This is a surprise. The Yonko's Physique, he previously had Blackbeard's physique of eating 3 fruits plus Big Mom's steel balloon, and now Kaido's Ghost Clan physique is also here. He can only say that he is invincible. Chapter 96 The 4 Legendary Pirates, Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and White Knight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 96, The 4 Legendary Pirates, Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and Bai Yi. Kaido's demon physique is actually similar to Big Mom's steel balloon, however, the defense of the steel balloon is obviously stronger, while Kaido's physique is weaker in defense, but it is stronger than the steel balloon in recovery. Big Mom's physique is strong in defense, and her recovery is indeed not as good as Kaido. Of course, the recovery is also related to Kaido's mythical beast species. Bai Yi can feel that his defense is much stronger than before. If the physique appears again, Bai Yi hopes to draw Jin's physique. The captain seems very happy. Tian Yuesher tilted his head and looked at Bai Yi with some curiosity. He always felt that Bai Yi seemed to be a little happy now. When we leave, I'll take you to see my crew. Bai Yi also knew in his perception that Kaido and others were dealing with the Black Charcoal clan, although they had just arrived in Wano country. Bai Yi's Thunder Fruit had also scanned out the various forces here, and they only needed to find and solve them one by one. When they found Kaido and the others, Jinny looked at Bai Yi with some apology and said, "Captain Bai Yi is really sorry. I shouldn't have questioned your decision before." As she said that, Jinny knelt on the ground and knocked her head on the ground. She felt guilty. After following Old John and others to see the gap between the civilians and nobles in Wano country, she realized how naive her previous thoughts were. The current Wano country, before Odin came to power, was actually more chaotic. Many places couldn't even afford to eat, but the nobles were still enjoying it. Jinny, who was watching all this, also understood why Bai Yi wanted to solve all the nobles here, because these guys are termites. "So you figured it out," Bai Yi said, looking at Old John, and he nodded. Jinny also reflected here. In fact, Bai Yi always thought that Jinny and Big Bear were like time bombs, or in other words, except for Old John, who only liked treasures, even Kaido was a bit like that. Kaido was okay, he had ambitions, but as long as he couldn't beat him, he would be a younger brother for life. But Jinny and Big Bear were actually a bit saintly in Bai Yi's eyes, so he probably had to change their ideas in the future. He didn't believe that he couldn't change their minds. "Captain, I've figured it out, and I won't question your decision anymore." Jinny raised her head and looked at Bai Yi with a firm look. From the moment she figured it out, she wouldn't question Bai Yi anymore. "Okay, then let me introduce you to the new member, Tian Yuesher." Bai Yi didn't continue to make a big deal. Since Jinny admitted her mistake at this time and promised it, there was no need for him to keep holding on to this point. It was normal for the two sides to have different ideas at the beginning. Bai Yi could slowly change them later. After Bai Yi finished the introduction, everyone noticed a woman behind Bai Yi. "Tian Yu? Isn't that a noble from Wano country?" "Ah, someone from hundreds of years ago." "Hundreds of years ago? What a joke." Everyone felt that Bai Yi was joking. How could someone come from hundreds of years ago? Hundreds of years have passed, and she is still not dead. She is a time person who ate the time fruit and can travel to the future. She also came from the past to the present. Bai Yi explained to them. In fact, as partners, they will also know the fruit ability of Tian Yuesher, and this ability is said to be able to go to the future, but in fact, when you don't understand the plot, this fruit has no use except traveling to the future, or Tian Yuesher has not developed it at all. Anyway, Bai Yi asked her about her ability before, and she can only develop traveling to the future now. As for other abilities, she doesn't have them at all. Time fruit. Old John and Kaido flashed a trace of surprise in their eyes. Is there such a bug fruit? And Bai Yi's luck is really good. He was able to find a time fruit ability user just after going out. That means, there are 7 of us here at the moment. That the prototype of a pirate group is also there. Captain Bai Yi, Deputy Captain and Combatant Kaido, Third in Command and Sniper, and Finance Minister John, plus 4 interns. But the pirate group doesn't have the people it should have. John took a sip of wine and said slowly. "Let me think about it. There are 3 of us in the battle, and then the ship's doctor will be in charge by Kuma and Ivankov, and the intelligence will be in charge by Ginny and Tianyuesher. So we seem to be lacking navigators and chefs at the moment, right? That there are still many people missing. On a pirate ship, no one can cook. Although Ginny and the other two can cook, the taste can only be normal. There is no navigator, and currently they have been relying on space ability to transfer, but if there are more people in the future, Bai can't transfer them all day by day, right? Bai also has the idea of setting up a squad later, and then let them each be responsible for their own squad. By the way, Bai followed your method, and these 3 fruits were indeed reborn. As he spoke, old John placed 3 fruits in front of Byakuya, imitating the fruit, the barrier fruit, and the snake fruit, the phantom beast species, and the Yamada no Orochi form, although it seems a little regretful to attack their old teammates just after the pirate group was disbanded, but if they want to take over Wano country, everyone who stands in front of them should be eliminated. In this case, there will be 4 fruits. In addition to the hurricane fruit ability user that was killed before, Bai was thinking about how to distribute these fruits next. Thinking of this, he took the 3 fruits from John's hand, and then took out the hurricane fruit he had obtained before. Ivankov, do Ginny want to eat devil fruits? For now, they are the only 2 who haven't eaten the fruit yet. In the anime, the most suitable fruit for Ivankov is the hormone fruit, but this may not be found, so if Ivankov wants to eat the fruit, he will give the barrier fruit to Ivankov first. No, I have no plans to eat the fruit at the moment. Ivankov shook his head, not interested in the abilities of these fruits. Bai, I want that phantom beast seed. Kaido pointed at the phantom beast fruit in Byakuya's hand and said. Didn't you eat it? There was a strange look in old John's eyes, and he was about to leave now. He was still waiting to ask Bai if he could sell it. You, a guy who ate a devil fruit, why are you here to join in the fun? I'm going to form a fleet composed of animal devil fruits. Before Kaido joined the White Knight Pirates, he had always wanted to create a pirate team composed of animal devil fruits. However, for the time being, it seemed that his dream could not be realized, but he was not ready to give up. Prepare to form the fleet first, therefore, this fruit is very useful to you. Okay, I'll give you this fruit. Find someone stronger to eat it. Don't let it go to waste. Byakuya nodded and threw the Yamada no Orochi form to Kaido. He also knew what Kaido was probably thinking in his heart, and Byakuya didn't like this fruit either, but this ability is completely wasted in the hands of Orochi. If you leave it to a more powerful person, you can push it to its maximum limit. Captain, can I eat that hurricane fruit? Ginny hesitated. She didn't want to eat it originally, but after thinking about it, she was too weak, and this fruit seemed to have been calling her, therefore, she hopes to eat this fruit. Okay, this fruit matches your characteristics very well. Bai nodded and gave the hurricane fruit to Ginny. Then there were 2 more fruits, and old John was ready to take advantage of them. Since no one asked for them, he would be rude. I think our finances are tight right now, Bai, do you want me to help deal with these 2 fruits? The imitation fruit can be sold, but I plan to keep this barrier fruit to see if there is a suitable person to eat it in the future. Compared to barrier fruits, imitation fruits are actually somewhat dispensable. After hearing Bai's words, old John's face lit up. Although it was just a piece of fruit, it was enough. Okay, then I'll sell this imitation fruit to you. Old John was overjoyed and took the fruit and kept it well. Since no one was eating the last fruit, Bai kept it for the time being. Ginny ate the hurricane fruit. After eating it, she felt the presence of the wind, and the wind seemed to be transmitting sounds to her from a distance. Captain, I seem to be able to hear voices in the distance. And from now on, I seem to be able to let the wind bring the words I want to people far away. On the battlefield, if it is separated far away, it seems to be able to play a supporting role, but she also knows that the hurricane fruit is definitely not that simple, and her combat ability is the most important. If you have any questions about fruit development in the future, you can come to me. Sometimes you too, your fruit development potential is great. Can you try to develop it in this way? For example, set up a barrier, and inside this time barrier, the flow of time outside is faster, but the flow of time in the time barrier is slower. or the time outside is slower and the time inside is faster, and it can be stopped at any time. There are so many development ideas for the ability of time. I can try this. Tianyuesher wasn't very sure, but if he wanted to give it a try, it didn't seem impossible. What about Wano country? What are you going to do? The Kazuki clan and the Black Tan clan of Wano country have also been wiped out, and there is still a lot of internal resistance. Pull a group of people and kill a group of people. If they are willing to accept our proposal, then let them live. If they are not willing, kill them. Reforming the country of Wano is not just about talking. What really needs to be done is to kill, and after that, you only need to provide these people with jobs, ensure food, clothing, housing and transportation, and then use the law to control those warriors who have some strength and draw the civilians to their side. In the later stage he will be able to transform the country of Wano into everything he wishes. I have something. Kaido raised his hand. He had a request. Looking at Bai Ye's eyes, he also said quickly, after this matter is over, I want to go to sea for a while, and then find some good seedlings to bring to Wano country for training. There are not many suitable people in Wano country. Kaido wants to go out and find some people to come back and then establish his own team. Although he is not the captain, his team members must also go through layers of screening. Then I will go out for a while. I want to bring my treasure back to Wano country, but I have said in advance that Bai Yi and you can't have any ideas about it. Old John was worried that he had not been outside for so many years, and the treasure would be discovered and taken away by others, so he decided to bring all the treasure back. Then I will go with you. Bai Ye's eyes turned. He also wanted to see how much treasure Captain John had. Besides, he still needed to go to Sky Island to take away the gold on it. Don't you want Wano country? Old John looked at Bai Yi in surprise. If the three of them left, relying on Big Bear and the other four, I'm afraid they couldn't defend Wano country at all, right? Isn't he here? As he spoke, a clone appeared beside Bai Yi. He left a shadow clone here, and at the same time, he knew the coordinates and could come back with Kamui at any time. As long as the shadow clone was here, there would be no problem in Wano country. Then you can go over, I'll watch here. By the way, urge the four of them to practice and let them practice well. Of these four people, Ivankov has combat potential, Big Bear is at the level of the upper 7 warlords of the sea, and at least has a combat power of the Vice-Emperor level. Ginny doesn't know, and Tianyuesher is very weak, but the potential of the devil fruit of both of them is very high, and Bai Yi is also happy to cultivate them. It's really weird. Old John muttered, but didn't say anything. The stronger Bai Yi is, the better it is for him. He understood anyway that he could only follow Bai Yi. Originally, this life was saved by Bai Yi. If it weren't for Bai Yi in the Valley of Gods, I'm afraid he would really die. Then you must practice well in the future. I will watch you carefully. The shadow clone looked at the few people with a smile. Except for Big Bear, the faces of the others fell instantly, and there was always an ominous premonition. Pirate White Knight, Wano country has been taken, and then we will wait for the era of the great pirate hegemony. Let's stay in Wano country for a while. Hokage White Knight, I am already looking forward to the legendary 4 pirates. From the original 3 major pirates Whitebeard, Roger, and Golden Lion, another one joins the hegemony, which feels quite fatalistic. Pirate White Knight, probably the follow-up depends on your actions. He has nothing else to do here for the time being, and then it depends on other people's chances to get the lottery. P.S. Let's talk about the timeline issue. Some worlds may have passed more than 10 days, while other worlds seem to have just passed a day. Because the author writes according to one big event and one big event, there will definitely be some bugs in the timeline. Don't worry about the timeline. Chapter 97, Hong Kong Island is full of demons, let Zhong Fabai get gold coins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 97, Hong Kong Island is full of demons, let's go to Zhong Fa by Lao Deng to make a fortune. Hokage Bai Yi, unfortunately, I have been planning something big recently. The Cloud Ninja Village and the Rock Ninja seem to want to take advantage of the situation. Although I had expected that with the various ways of the Cloud Ninja and the Rock Ninja in the past, as long as Konoha has a situation, the other party will definitely come to Konoha to blackmail, but I didn't expect that the other party could restrain themselves during the war and tacitly prepare to get some benefits from Konoha. Pirate Baiyi. Isn't that good? Just fight. Hokage Baiyi, I guess the Fourth Ninja World War will start soon. Anyway, if they see me destroying and annexing the Rock Ninja Village and the Cloud Ninja Village, and all the tailed beasts are captured by me, Black Zetsu will probably be unable to sit still. The entire ninja world has been unified by me. By then, Baiyi doesn't believe that Black Zetsu won't have some crooked thoughts in advance. Hong Kong Zone Baiyi, it's still early for you guys. I'm leaving today and have already received my first commission. Hong Kong Zone World, Baiyi got up early today. Today is the day he leaves. Since he crossed into this strange world, he was very confused at first. After all, it would be very difficult for an ordinary person to survive in such a strange world, but he didn't give up. Since there are ghosts in this world, there are naturally Taoist priests. After finding out where Zhong Fabai lives, Zhong Fabai accepted him as a disciple to teach him the Maoshan Taoism because of his thick skin and good qualifications. Baiyi, your qualifications have surpassed my teacher. In a few years, you will probably be stronger than me. Our Maoshan lineage has always taken it as our responsibility to eliminate demons and defend the way. You must not fall into the way of demons, otherwise you will be destroyed. Zhong Fabai lit 3 incense sticks on the offering table, then turned his head and looked at Baiyi and admonished. Baiyi's talent was too strong. He originally thought that Baiyi would need at least a few years to become a master, but his talent was that he would learn one by one, and later, Zhong Fabai had nothing to teach Baiyi, and people with strong talents like Baiyi, once they fall into the devil's way, it would be unimaginable. Especially in this era, it is difficult to practice Taoism. And many people choose to fall into the devil's way in order to improve their cultivation and lifespan. Don't worry, Lao Deng, I will definitely not fall into the devil's way. Baiyi said casually, which made Zhong Fabai shake his head. Maybe he thought too much. How could such a heartless guy fall into the devil's way? At the beginning, he was deceived by Baiyi's sincere appearance when he became his apprentice. After he got familiar with Baiyi, he found that this guy's personality could be described as bad. He used to call him master, but later he just called him Lao Deng Lao Deng. However, Zhong Fabai did not have much prejudice against this title, and even felt it was quite friendly, better than calling him master. You can't live here after you graduate. What are you going to do? The evil spirit in Hong Kong seems to be getting heavier now. If you encounter any problems that you don't understand or can't solve after you graduate, you should come to me. Do you know, that although Baiyi has a good talent, in Zhong Fabai's eyes, he is just a little kid who has just entered the town not long ago. Moreover, as his only and most proud disciple, Zhong Fabai also hopes that Baiyi can inherit his mantle, after so many years. Zhong Fabai actually thought about accepting disciples, but there are too few people who can practice in modern times. And the spiritual energy has long been polluted. He can't find a suitable person to practice, so he has been delayed. And Baiyi also placed his hope on him. He knew very well that as long as Baiyi was still alive, he would be able to surpass himself. Don't worry, Lao Deng. I'll open a ghost-catching company to make money, and then I'll buy you a big villa. A Taoist should focus on cultivation, not material possessions. Zhong Fabai clenched his fists, resisting the urge to beat Baiyi up. Is this guy obsessed with money? Then just tell me if you want this big villa, forget it if you don't want it. Yes. Zhong Fabai coughed lightly. Although he didn't feel good, he didn't want to live in this broken place for a long time. However, because all the ghosts within a radius of 10 miles have moved away, and he doesn't have much business, he lives a relatively poor life. In this era, the survival of Taoist priests is relatively poor. It's not like before when they encountered something supernatural and ghostly, they would go to Taoist priests to solve it. Now there are more people who have received new education, except for the older generation. Young people basically don't believe in this, so there are naturally fewer and fewer Taoist priests, and their lives are getting worse and worse. Then I'll leave first, old Deng. Baiyi waved his hand and then stepped away. He had wanted to leave recently. If he didn't leave, he would have to wait for the plot to start. Wouldn't he have missed a lot of opportunities? Making money is secondary. The main thing is to earn lottery opportunities. Since he started practicing Taoism, he has found that the evil spirit in this Hong Kong ghost world is getting heavier and heavier. It is estimated that it will not be long before this Hong Kong ghost world is full of demons. He must also improve his strength before it is not too troublesome. Get out of here quickly. If you stay here any longer, I will be pissed off to death by you. Although Zhong Fabai said this, he was actually a little reluctant. After Bai Yi left, he returned to his previous state. Speaking of which, it seems that they haven't seen each other for a long time since they went down the mountain and separated. Boss, this building of yours is very evil. Do you want to help you exorcise the devil? The reward is to give me an office for free. I will be in charge in the future. I promise you that no dirty thing will dare to come here. Bai Yi left Zhong Fabai in high spirits in the morning, but in the afternoon he had a bitter look on his face. He suddenly realized a problem: he had no money. No matter if I thought of opening a company before, I would at least have a venue, so I couldn't just set up a stall, right? I still need some identity. And as a master, he still has to eat, so why don't he stop eating? Damn it, I forgot to pick up some money from Lao Deng when I just left. Go, 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 you idiot, are you cursing me? That the office owner waved his hand impatiently, but there was also a hint of guilt in his eyes. Seeing him like this, Bai Yi was not in a hurry, and then said slowly, Boss, if I guess correctly, 9 people die every year in your office building, right? That there is a ghost in office. It can be regarded as a shadow of his childhood in his previous life. Bai Yi knew what happened here the moment he came here, but it was a pity that he didn't have Yin and Yang eyes, so it was still a bit inconvenient to see ghosts. Now, give me a bigger office for free. In addition to your previous distrust, you need to compensate me 1 million Hong Kong dollars as mental damages. In return, I will help you solve the problems here. From now on, you will also be here. Nothing weird will happen, otherwise it would be a big loss for you to have so many empty offices here, right? After listening to Bai Ye's words, the boss was actually a little shaken. His place was fine at first, but with the tradition of 9 people dying every year, there were fewer and fewer companies here. Although it's a new era, people don't believe much in this kind of strange power and chaos, but 4 people die every year, and it's been going viral here on Hong Kong Island. He is also under a lot of pressure. Although he is the manager of this building, he still has a big boss over his head. The big boss has been asking himself to solve this matter, but he is just an ordinary person, so how could he be able to solve it? If he could solve it, he would have solved it long ago. Moreover, he would not even dare to enter this office building during normal times or at certain times. After all, he didn't have to believe it, but he still chose to respect the tradition of 9 people dying every year in this building. Nowadays, there are fewer and fewer companies in this office building, and after knowing that it is this company, many people are not willing to come to work. If this continues, this place will probably be completely closed sooner or later, so he could only be anxious. But he had also invited some so-called Taoist priests before, but in his opinion, these Taoist priests were as fierce as tigers in their operations. At the last look, he was dumbfounded. They were simply liars and had no real talent or knowledge at all. He was already ready to resign. Anyway, he didn't dare to risk his life. Can you really solve it? The man said. Then he put his hand in front of Bai Yi and said, I was a little offended just now, but I have been troubled by this matter recently and I'm sorry. My name is Lu Guang. What do you call me? White Knight. Bai Yi reached out to shake his hand and introduced his name. Let's make a long story short. Do you know whether the situation here is what I learned from the media or what you saw yourself? If you don't have the real ability, I advise you not to cheat here again. The previous so-called Taoist monks died. Crazy, crazy. In short, if you want to get money from me in advance, I think you should give up. I want to see the results. Lu Guang speaks very straightforwardly and is also very responsible. He can agree to any of Bai Ye's conditions. As long as Bai Yi can guarantee that the problems here will be solved, he is willing to give even 10 million, not to mention 1 million. This is a prime location on Hong Kong Island. If it weren't for these things, they would have been full here. But even with this thing, many companies still choose to rent here. On the one hand, the location is great, and on the other hand, after these things happened, office buildings also took the initiative to reduce rents. Naturally, there are bosses who are not afraid. Anyway, some bosses don't come here at all. Those who come here are just workers. If you die, you will die. What does beating workers have to do with them? I know, and those ghosts come out to find substitutes at this time. 9 more people are going to die this year. Do you want to think about it? Just give me money after I take care of it. As he spoke, Bai raised his hand, and an arc of electricity flashed in his hand, and then directly hit the flower pot on the side. With a bang, the flower pot exploded, which shocked the people around him and Lu Guang, but it also gave Lu Guang hope. He seems to really have something. Master, can you really solve the problem here? After Lu Guang confirmed that Bai was really not a charlatan, he immediately changed his face, which was called flattery. My salary and salary for managing this building are still very high. He didn't want to give up until the last moment, not to mention that these were all connections. There were so many big companies here. He occasionally drank tea and chatted with these bosses, and they might be useful in the future. So he actually doesn't want to leave, but compared to his own life, he still cherishes his little life more. What's more, if I can solve the problems here and get the appreciation of the big boss, won't I be able to be promoted in the future? What do you think? Would you still risk your life to joke with him? Master, of course I believe in you. If you solve the problem here, you can choose the office here as you like, and I will never charge you rent in this life. I will discuss it with the big boss and add it to you. 10 million Hong Kong paper. Lu Guang's idea was also very simple. If Bai could really solve the problem, he would make friends with him. With such a person here, he would feel relieved. Then he would tell the big boss, and maybe the big boss would agree. After all, it is just an office, but he can leave a powerful Taoist priest. Of course he is happy. What is an office and 10 million Hong Kong paper? Well, so be it. Bai nodded, then pointed to the office building and said, I'm going in. I'll tell you when the matter is resolved. With that said, Bai walked directly into the office building, followed by a man and a woman. Bai turned around and looked at the 2 people, Pat and Ken. Are there 2 scapegoats in the original novel? Bai murmured in his heart. Logically speaking, if he came with them today, it means that there are only 3 of them alive here, and there is 1 person with Yin and Yang eyes. Unfortunately, Sora has Yin and Yang eyes, but he doesn't. The ability to deal with ghosts. Hi, are you here for an interview too? Apin's eyes lit up when she looked at Bai beside her. She had never seen such a handsome guy before. She also raised her hand and greeted him warmly. She was also quite emotional. She didn't expect to meet a handsome guy when she came here for an interview today. I work at a securities company on the 16th floor. What about you? Seeing that Bai just turned his head and looked at her without saying anything, Apin felt a little unsure in his heart. Could it be that he was not interested in him? I'm here to check out the business. What about you? Bai said, turning his head and looking at Ken next to him. Ken was a little surprised when his name was suddenly called, but he reacted and said with a smile, from the game design company on the 12th floor. That's good. Bai glanced at the 2 of them meaningfully, and then looked at Sister Ba, who was walking towards here. In the movie, Apin was chosen as a substitute. Speaking of which, who would she choose this time? Last time there were only 2 people, so Sister Ba and the other ghost Ashen each chose 1 person to be their scapegoat, but this time there were 3 people, 2 out of 3. Chapter 98. I can tell at a glance that you are not a human being. I want you to show your true color. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 98. I can tell at a glance that you are not human. I want you to show your true colors. You 2 should know each other, right? Bai looked at the 2 with a smile. Obviously, from the deliberately distant expressions of the 2, they originally planned to pretend not to know each other, but from the relationship seen in the movie, the 2 should be ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend. but the strange thing is that the two seem to come here together, and it was not that Apen came here first, followed by Ken. Yes, I know each other. A trace of embarrassment flashed across Apen's face, and then introduced, we are exes, but we just happened to meet here. If Bai Yi hadn't been here, she would have greeted Ken, but seeing Bai Yi, this handsome guy, she wanted to develop a relationship with him, so naturally she thought of pretending not to know him, but she didn't expect that Bai Yi's words would bring the two together, and then she saw that they were related, so she had to explain the relationship between the two. Well, I just came here for an interview. Ken glanced at Bai Yi and explained, perhaps he saw what Pan was thinking, but thinking that they had broken up because he had proposed the breakup, the other party might hate him now, so he naturally would not disturb Pan's peach blossom. Have you heard? This street is very evil, 9 people die every July. In the lobby, several women were sitting together chatting about the rumors about this building, and Bai Yi looked at it and found that none of the people in the group were human. Sean in the red skirt was also among them, but although they were talking, their eyes were always looking between the 3 people, and finally fell on Bai Yi. Is it so evil? Ken murmured. Although he had heard of the legends here, he had not found a job for a long time. If he didn't work, he probably couldn't pay the rent next month, so even if he knew, he could only bite the bullet and come here to try. That's it, I'll go to the interview first. Ken said, then waved his hand and said goodbye to the two, then he turned directly at an intersection and entered the elevator. Have you just come here? Have you heard of the rumors here? Pan was a little curious whether Bai Yi had heard of this legend, speaking of which, she had actually heard of it. I've heard of it. Then why are you opening a company here? There are very few people who dare to come here for an interview. Pan reminded her that if she didn't want to change her career, she wouldn't have come here at all. Her education level was not high, and besides her decent appearance, she didn't have many special skills. If it wasn't because it was not easy to recruit people in this building, she would not have come here in the face of competition. It doesn't matter, I can do it alone. By the way, take me to the 16th floor. You are going to the 16th floor too? Is your company on the 16th floor? After listening to Bai Yi's words, Pan's eyes lit up. She didn't expect Bai Yi to be on the same floor as her, then wouldn't she be able to chat with Bai Yi often? Well, I haven't decided yet. I talked to the boss here and he asked me to choose an office by myself, so I'll take a look in advance. If Bai Yi remembered correctly, the haunted place was on the 16th floor, so they decided to start from the 16th floor. The elevator dinged and the door of the elevator on the first floor opened. One of the white-haired women was squatting on the ground with her back to the two of them. Pan felt a little scared, but after seeing Bai Yi walk in without caring, she looked at Bai Yi's back, gritted her teeth, and then decided to follow him in. Following Bai Yi's footsteps, standing next to Bai Yi, and trying to stay away from the white-haired woman, Pan felt a little safe. At the moment when the elevator was about to close, the elevator door was blocked by a snow-white little hand. Sorry, please wait a moment, I'll go up too. The elevator door opened, and Asen in a red dress walked into the elevator with a trace of apology on her face, and then glanced at the white-haired woman squatting on the ground without leaving a trace. Originally, she wanted to wait for Bai Yi to choose the elevator, but after seeing Pan following Bai Yi, she could only take the initiative, mainly because the ghosts here were all choosing substitutes. If Bai Yi was chosen by other ghosts, she would have to choose someone again. Sometimes, it is not so easy to choose a suitable substitute. Hello, do you also work here? Shan greeted Bai Yi and Pan enthusiastically. Although Pan had also been chosen by Sister Ba, her main target was not Pan. Well, you too? Of course. I'm here to investigate, how about you take me there? Bai Yi looked at Shan with a smile. Just when the first ghost came to the door, there was no reason to let it go. Listening to Bai Yi's words, Shan's eyes lit up, and only the white-haired woman squatting on the ground. After hearing this, a trace of sadness flashed in her heart. It seemed that this man should die. Not interested in me? Pan couldn't hide his disappointment. He had been thinking about whether he could pursue this handsome guy, but he seemed to be interested in the woman in the red dress. Of course, it happens that I haven't started work yet. I'll take you to see it. Ashen's eyes lit up. He was just worrying about how to get close to Bai Yi, but he took the initiative to deliver himself to the door. Then Pan, I'll come to you later. Okay. A trace of disappointment flashed across Apan's face. She looked at Bai Ye's back leaving the elevator. She waved, then left the elevator together, then turned the corner and walked towards her office, 16th floor. There are currently many vacant offices. Due to the perennial hauntings, there are fewer and fewer companies here, so the many vacant spaces are quite large. Bai Yi was not in a hurry to make the first move. After walking around the 16th floor, Bai Yi felt that although the office here was large, it was too complicated, so he also dialed Lu Qing's number. When the other party answered, Bai Yi directly he opened his mouth and asked, "What, do you have an office here that is less dense? If I want to open that thing here, I don't want to be looked at like a monkey by others. Although you open a ghost-catching company, you can't open it in these places, right? There is currently no one in this building, but after I take care of it, the location of this building will not be unavailable for companies. Master Bai, why don't you go and take a look at the top floor? The top floor was originally my office. If you want, I can give it to you. You can have a panoramic view of the surrounding scenery from there. It is also a large flat floor." Lu Qing quickly said that the top floor was originally his office, but because he didn't dare to go there at all, it stayed idle there. "Well, I understand. The top floor." A flash of clarity flashed in Bai Ye's eyes. The top floor was indeed a large flat floor, and above it should be the rooftop. Looking at Bai Ye's back, Ashen's eyes flickered. If he went to the top floor, would it be possible? But when I think about it, it feels too fast. The other party may not trust me at all. Bai Yi, are you the boss? To become a boss at such a young age and to rent the entire top floor, you are really young and promising. A hint of little girl's admiration flashed in Ashen's eyes, and then she looked at Bai Yi with a flattering expression, almost writing "I like you" directly on her face. Such a pity, no matter how young and promising you are, you will soon have nothing left. Well, be your own boss. Bai Yi pressed the button for the top floor and answered casually, while the white-haired woman was still squatting in the corner in the elevator. Are you the second generation of rich people, built from scratch? Made from scratch? So great. So what exactly do you do? Ashen looks like an innocent little girl. If it were anyone else, she would most likely be very satisfied. After all, if a beautiful woman looks at you with admiring eyes, anyone would be secretly happy. You'll find out later. The corner of Bai Ye's mouth curved slightly without explaining too much. As the sound of the elevator sounded, Ashen's thoughts were interrupted. What do you mean she will know later? She didn't have time to think too much and quickly followed. However, after seeing the white-haired woman also getting out of the elevator, she turned her head and looked at her fiercely, her eyes full of threats. If she hadn't wanted to save herself in the first place, she would have regarded this woman as a substitute, of course, because the other party has Yin-Yang Eyes. Ghosts like them want to deceive her and charm her with illusions, but they can't do it. This large flat floor is pretty good. The entire flat floor is almost 400 square meters. I can live here from now on. Bai Yi looked around, then looked at the elevator, thinking that he would ask Lu Qing to get him a special elevator so that he and his guests could go directly to the top floor. By the way, don't you want to know what I do? As he said that, he turned to look at Ashen. After seeing the other party nodding, Bai Yi raised his hand and saw the thunder and lightning in his hand flashing. I am actually a Taoist priest. The owner of this building made an agreement with me. Here is I'll kill them all, and then I'll choose any office here, and you'll be the first. Bai Yi said calmly, and then the whole room was instantly filled with electricity. Thunder and lightning. This is what evil creatures fear the most, especially ghosts like Ashen who want people to die as scapegoats. The entire 25th floor was filled with strong electric current. Ashen felt that if she touched the lightning, she would be killed instantly. What are you talking about? How can I be a ghost? Ashen's face turned pale, but she didn't dare to take too many actions, so she could only make excuses to deceive Bai Yi. I can tell at a glance that you are not a human being, and the monster has not yet revealed its true form. As he said that, the violent lightning in Bai Ye's hand hit Ashen directly and instantly destroyed her physically and mentally, but after waiting for a long time, Bai Ye still hadn't waited for the lottery opportunity. You don't want me to completely resolve this matter, do you? Bai Ye stopped and saw that his number of draws was still 0. It seemed that killing a ghost was not his reward, but think about it, if all 9 ghosts here are counted, or only 3 protagonists are counted, there are still 3 chances. This lottery chance seems a bit simple. I've been watching for a long time. Do you want to be my assistant if you have Yin and Yang eyes? Bai Ye looked around the corner. The white-haired woman had already been frightened by Bai Ye. Originally, she thought that Bai Ye would definitely die, but in the next second, the female ghost was killed in Bai Ye's hands. Can I? Ai pointed at herself, with some expectation in her heart. She has been troubled by the problem of her Yin and Yang eyes all year round. The main reason is that she can only see ghosts, but she can't do anything to them. In this situation, she has been living in fear. Of course, your eyes can see ghosts. I need an assistant who can see ghosts. And you also saw it later. This large flat floor needs some help to take care of it. Since you have Yin and Yang eyes, it is naturally the best good choice. Bai Ye can only see ghosts using special means. Normally, he can't see ghosts. The Yin and Yang eyes do have some effect on him. Anyway, he needs an assistant, so why not let her do it? I do, Ie agreed immediately. After seeing Bai Ye's methods, she knew very well that it was much better to follow Bai Ye than to go alone. There are still 8 ghosts in this place. Please take me to deal with them. I want to end the reincarnation here. In addition to Sister Ba, 3 of the other 7 ghosts were seen in the hall. They were saying that this place was very evil, and there were 4 ghosts that Bai Ye had not seen before and did not know which one they were in. Building, Ie, who has been here all year round, naturally knows very well that when Bai Ye wants to take action to deal with the ghost, she is of course happy. The reincarnation here should have been resolved long ago. Boss, can I ask your name? White Knight. Then boss, since there are Taoist priests in this world, why hasn't reincarnation been cut off here? Many years have passed since the legend here, and there has never been a Taoist priest who is really capable of solving it. Ie asked curiously. Since there are Taoist priests like Bai Ye, there is a high probability that others will know about this building, but why did it take so many years before a Taoist priest came? Yeah, actually I can't figure it out, or in fact it can't be solved at all. If there is a ghost in the office, to put it bluntly, there is no way to deal with the ghost, but this integrates so many worlds, it is impossible for the Taoist priest not to know the situation here, but that's exactly what happened. Boss, I actually thought about asking the media to report it. The media agreed at first, but later they changed their minds for some reason. Apart from word of mouth, the rumors about this place have never been published in the news or newspapers. It seems that someone is deliberately hiding this news. In addition, there are many rumors about ghosts and ghosts here in Hong Kong Island. I guess you wouldn't know much about the situation here if you weren't the boss, right? He actually thought of a solution, however, the other party changed his mind later. Regarding supernatural matters, it seems that Hong Kong Island is not allowed to be published at all. Yes, the news is blocked. Logically speaking, newspapers will report on such curious things, but they are deliberately hiding something. It is impossible for newspapers to leave such a report to increase sales, and just like his master, there is indeed no ghost within 10 miles, but if it is too far away, he does not understand at all. He reads newspapers and news every day, but the news there would be no such report in the newspapers. Then this seems a bit meaningful. Bai Ye always felt as if there was some invisible hand controlling all of this to prevent more people from knowing about it. Shaking his head, Bai Ye decided not to think so much for the time being. The most important thing now was to get rid of all the ghosts here. No one has died yet. If one person dies and it doesn't change the plot, then he will suffer a big loss. Chapter 99 I got the Yin-Yang Eyes, and I will be born white. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 99, I have the Yin and Yang Eyes, and my clock will turn white if God doesn't give birth to me. Okay, don't think so much, just take me to find the ghost first. Logically speaking, E in the movie is not a talkative person at all. Perhaps it is because he has been regarded as a freak for many years, but now someone is able to deal with the ghost and make his Yin and Yang eyes no longer become such a terrifying thing. She had been holding back the words in her heart for so many years, and she wanted to say them all at this moment, but for Bai Yi, getting rid of the remaining 8 ghosts is the most important thing at the moment. Bai Yi had seen those 3 ghosts before. Although Bai Yi had not seen Sister Ba, he probably knew what they looked like. However, in addition to relying on compasses and other means, ghosts could actually be easily distinguished when they were close to a Taoist priest. Boss, please come with me. There are 3 ghosts in the women's restroom on the 16th floor who have been looking for a scapegoat. Ai brought Bai Yi to the door of the women's restroom, and she was a little hesitant to take Bai Yi in with her. White Knight, Apin was about to go to the toilet, but he saw Bai Yi and the white-haired woman at the door of the women's toilet. It seemed like there were only these 2, and the woman in the red dress seemed to be missing. Apin, are you going to the toilet? Apin looked at Bai Yi with a strange expression. She came to use the toilet, but what was Bai Yi doing here? You're not a voyeur, are you? We'll come back later. Just wait at the door. I've already sensed it. As Bai Yi said this, he directly entered the women's restroom, which frightened Apin. He quickly looked around. After seeing that no one else noticed and there was no one around, Apin quickly followed to pull Bai Yi out. If Bai Yi was seen coming out of the women's restroom by others, he would definitely be arrested. Consider it perverted. In the women's restroom, a girl was smiling at the innermost toilet. This strange scene made Apin's skin crawl all over. Today's series of strange things and the rumors about this building also made Apin feel a little nervous. I'm so confused. Bai Yi quickly stepped forward, performed a spell, and then pointed his finger on the girl's head. The woman's strange look disappeared instantly, replaced by a wave of confusion. Where was Sister Lin just now? You are haunted by a ghost, go out and there is nothing else going on here. Byakuya used the Sharingan to give her a psychological hint. After letting her go out, Byakuya turned her head and looked at the 2 ghosts in the toilet. A lightning spell was fired directly, and the 2 ghosts were wiped out with a bang. Can your hands shoot thunder and lightning? Apin covered her mouth and looked at Bai Yi in disbelief. She was also surprised in her heart. Is this something a person can do? Coupled with what he said before, Apin also had a guess in his heart, and then asked quickly, are you a Taoist priest? Well, this is my business card. If you have any questions, you can call me. By the way, you have to pay. Besides, you are also haunted by ghosts. This time it is considered free for you. Bai Yi said and handed over the business card in his hand. Apin subconsciously took it and glanced at the name, phone number, and address on it. Then he seemed to have realized something and walked up quickly and asked, what do you mean I am haunted by a ghost? Up. Is it the one with white hair? She was also a little scared in her heart. After all, she had not forgotten the scene in the elevator. No, the one with white hair is my assistant. The one in red skirt today is also a ghost, and so are the storytellers. Except for me, you and Ken, everyone else in the hall just now is a ghost. Bai Yi explained, and began to worry in his heart. After taking care of Sister Ba, there were only 5 ghosts left here. 9 people die in the building every year. Apin believed in Bai Yi, mainly because of the thunder and lightning that Bai Yi had just shot out of his hand and the shrill screams in the compartment. Now she finally understood why Bai Yi left with the woman in the red dress just now. Before co-writing, Bai Yi realized that the woman was a ghost, and she was also entangled. Yes, but this year the legend will be ended. Then can I follow you and see how you deal with ghosts? And if you come to the women's room again, I can cover you. Even though he said that, Apin still wanted to follow Bai Yi and have a look, at least this way he would feel more at ease in his heart. Sure. If she runs around, she might be killed by a ghost in advance. If she is willing to follow him, then Bai Yi will naturally be happy as well. Let's go, there are 6 more. After coming out of the women's restroom, Bai Yi glanced at Ai and asked her to continue taking him to other floors. 15th floor. A trace of doubt flashed in Sister Ba's eyes when she looked at Bai Yi, Ai and Apin. She was originally waiting for evening to see if she could communicate with Apin first. Pan didn't know him, but he was chosen to be his scapegoat, while Bai Yi was chosen by Ashan. Now that these 2 people are together, and Ae is here, will this 8th wife take action? A trace of gloom flashed in Sister Ba's eyes. If this woman took action, she would not let Ai go. Although the ghost in this building was more or less reminded by Ae, and he also knew that the current Ae was actually like the original Ae, threatened by the ghost, and could not take action directly, this is actually like an agreement between them. Ai can try to do it, but he can't take action directly, nor can he tell the person who died for him. If they really run away, then someone will be replaced. There is a tacit understanding between the 2 parties, but there seems to be something wrong with Ai's current situation. First meeting, Sister Ba. You know me? Well, you are the 4th ghost I killed. Bai Yi quickly and neatly eliminated Sister Ba with a lightning bolt, then turned to look at Apin and said, you are her scapegoat. Now that she is dead, you are safe. Yeah, thank you. How about I follow you and take a look? If I encounter something like this in the future or my friend encounters something like this, I will introduce business to you. Apin swallowed her saliva and felt a little worried. If she wasn't allowed to follow, she was really afraid that ghosts would be watching her later. By the way, why do they do this? Find someone to die for you, otherwise you will be trapped here forever and unable to be reincarnated. If you are killed by them, you will do the same in the end. Ai explained from the side that she had seen too many such things here over the years. In fact, most of the victims were relatively good people during their lifetime, but after death, because of grievances and various reasons, they would resent the living people, and they also wanted to be reincarnated more and more, so they formed obsessions. In the 2nd year, I chose to harm people here. Apin didn't say anything, and she didn't know if she would be like this after her death. Okay, if you encounter any problems in the future, just call this number and I will collect money based on your actual situation. For those who have money, they will charge more. If they don't have money, they will naturally charge less. Taoism itself pays attention to moderation. Good. Apin nodded repeatedly. She didn't care about money, as long as she could live. Fortunately, she met Bai Yi, otherwise she would really be killed. What's the use of the money if it's dead? Then she followed Bai Yi all the way, watching Bai Yi take out all the ghosts on the floor one by one. There were 8 in total. Except for the red ghost Ashen that Bai Yi mentioned before, all the other ghosts were gone. It was solved by Bai Yi, and this also made Apin relieved. It seemed that what Bai Yi said was true, and he seemed to be really safe. The evil spirit on your body has dissipated. Ai also said something at this time, then looked at the top of the building and said, and after you, boss, solved all the ghosts here, the evil spirit of this building seems to have been reduced a lot, but it has not completely disappeared. Can her Yin and Yang eyes still see this? Bai Yi only saw with magic power, and the Yin and Yang eyes did make Bai Yi a little envious. If a Taoist priest had Yin and Yang eyes, he would be much better at dealing with ghosts. Because there is another formation in the underground garage. Bai Yi said, calling Lu Qing directly, come in, the matter here has been resolved, there is video evidence, I will wait for you on the 1st floor. In the lobby, Lu Qing walked in cautiously, and immediately approached Bai Yi after seeing him. He was not afraid that Bai Yi was a ghost. How could a ghost be able to use thunder and lightning? Thunder and lightning are the most feared thing by ghosts in this world. See for yourself. Taking the camera from Bai Yi, the first and second paragraphs were taken by Bai Yi holding the camera, and the latter part was taken by Ai. There were 9 in total. Especially when he saw Bai Yi dealing with the first red ghost, he almost knelt down and called Bai Yi's father. Are you the god of thunder and lightning? And he matched all these ghosts, they were all people who died at this time last year, and all of these people became ghosts looking for scapegoats. There is another formation under this building. If I destroy it, the situation will not be the same as before. Even if there are ghosts, you can still be reincarnated. You will not be trapped here and have to keep killing people to find scapegoats. Able to reincarnate. Bai Yi pointed to the ground. After saying this, Lu Qin panicked instantly. He just had a conversation with the big boss. What the big boss means is that if Bai Yi can solve the problem, he will give him the top position and an additional price of 50 million or more, so that Bai Yi must stay in this building. Building here, but Bai Yi doesn't mean to just get rid of this place and leave, right? Master, what will I do if you leave? I won't leave. I mean the ghosts here can be reincarnated, and they will never be the same again. A black line flashed in Bai Yi's eyes, and he spoke speechlessly. Hearing that Bai Yi was not leaving, Lu Qin couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Taking Bai Yi to the underground parking lot, Bai Yi walked to the center, then raised his head and looked at the ceiling, where a huge spirit-binding formation could be vaguely seen. Evil ways. No wonder the souls in the past few years have to rely on finding scapegoats to enter reincarnation. I'm afraid if they find a scapegoat, they don't enter reincarnation. They are directly sucked away by this formation and then become nourishment for others. Can Master solve it? Lu Qin swallowed his saliva and looked at Bai Yi with some fear. He had never been to the underground parking lot before, but he had never noticed that there was a formation above it. Simple. This formation is just a simple spirit-binding formation, and it is very easy to break it. After breaking the formation here, Bai Yi could feel that all the yin qi around the building had dissipated. Although Lu Qin and Pan were mortals, they also felt that the sense of depression had also disappeared. Ding! Solve the endless reincarnation incident in the building and be rewarded with a lottery opportunity. Really? Bai Yi finally understood that he had to solve an incident like this by himself. However, this difficulty is lower, unlike Uchiha clan Genocide Night and God Valley, so it is understandable that the rewards are smaller. Lottery, Bai Yi thought silently in his heart. Ding. If you use the lottery opportunity successfully, you will be rewarded. Yin-Yang Eyes. Yin-Yang Eyes? What the hell? The ability I have always wanted has finally arrived. Hong Kong TV show White Knight. Everyone, the Yin and Yang Eyes are here. Zombie White Knight. Okay, good time. Daily Bay, finally it's here. The moment I have Yin and Yang Eyes, I feel the feeling of seeing my son. Naruto Byakuya. Unfortunately, I can't see the dirty things. The Yin-Yang Eye thing seems to have a special bonus for these worlds. Being able to see ghosts and using magic to see ghosts are two different concepts. After having the Yin and Yang Eyes, Bai Yi no longer needs to use the previous methods to see, he can just use his eyes to see. Boss, what's wrong with you? Ie always felt that there seemed to be some changes in Bai Yi, but she couldn't put it into words. It's okay, let's go up. By the way, my company will open tomorrow. Can you help me clean up, and then the money will be directly put on my card. With that said, Bai Yi gave Lu Qin his bank card and asked him to transfer the money. Lu Qin took over and repeatedly promised that he would finish it for Bai Yi soon, but it might take a few days for hygiene, so Bai Yi didn't say much about it. It would only take a few days. After giving Ie his mobile phone number and asking him to wait for notification to come to work, Apen gritted his teeth and walked up to Bai Yi and asked, Bai Yi, can I go to work at your place? Now she has no thoughts about Bai Yi. After all, she also knows that she is not worthy of Bai Yi, but she wants to go to work at Bai Yi's place, mainly because she is safe when working there. If she is haunted by ghosts in the future, she can directly contact the boss, but she does not have Yin and Yang Eyes like Ie, and she doesn't know if Bai Yi will recruit her. Front desk. Okay, just a normal salary, but she's happy to work at the front desk, too. Okay, you can come to work in a few days. Since you are setting up a company, you still need to have a rough personnel structure. After explaining everything, Bai Yi directly dialed Zhong Fabai's phone. Lao Deng, let me tell you something. I have a large flat-floor office in the center of Hong Kong Island. Yes, it's you. There is nothing I can do about the building I mentioned. My charisma is just like this. When I go out and see a ghost, I need to help someone solve it. I said I don't want money, but he said no. A Taoist priest like me should get such remuneration. I refused in every possible way, but I couldn't resist the other party's enthusiasm. Bai Yi could already imagine Zhong Fabai's expression of wanting to give himself a beating. This is indeed the case. On the other end of the phone, Zhong Fabai was not only happy, but also worried that God had not given birth to Zhong Fabai. Why hasn't he been appreciated after so many years? Why the hell? Chapter 100, Confusing, on the chessboard, chess piece or chess player. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 100, Confusing, on the chessboard, chess piece or chess player. Merit. After solving the formation here, Bai Yi could feel a trace of merit entering his body through the wheel of merit. Killing evil spirits will give you lucky draw opportunities and merits, which will give you double happiness. After briefly talking to Lu Qing about the company's internal structure and asking him to prepare according to the placement provided by him, Bai Yi took his bank card. After receiving the transfer notification from the bank card, he turned around and went to find a hotel to stay. In the past few days, Bai Yi has been collecting information about this world, although I also learned that this world incorporates many Hong Kong worlds when I traveled through it before, but after solving the office scapegoat incidents before, Bai Yi discovered that the world seemed to have its own secrets that he was not aware of. There are a lot of supernatural things on the internet, but most of them are not real and are listened to as stories. But some of them make Bai Yi feel inexplicably familiar, as if there are some similar movies. The plot is similar. The news about ghosts seems to have been deliberately concealed, and even the matter I solved didn't seem to cause any waves. Although solving the ghosts is not something worth publicizing, I deliberately made a little noise about the strangeness in that building. It is impossible that no one knows about it, but the news has not yet seen it. Was it really hidden? Bai Yi also seemed to understand that this was not done by ordinary people. They don't have that much energy. Most of the news now is about so-and-so becoming the leader again, and who was hacked to death. There is news about this kind of news. Quite a lot. Young and dangerous, Bai Yi thought about it secretly in his mind. The phone next to him rang. Bai Yi stretched out, picked up the phone next to him, looked at it, answered the call and asked, "What's the matter?" Lu Qing has already sorted things out. Bai Yi murmured in his heart, but it was not Lu Qing's voice on the other end of the phone, but a more mature middle-aged male voice. "Hello, Master Bai, I'm sorry to disturb you. I am Lu Qing's big boss. Can I talk to you?" Huang Yuan tightened his grip on his cell phone. For such an expert, he also knew that his temper might be a little weird. In addition, I also wanted to ask for some things from the other party, so I was naturally polite. I learned from Lu Qing that the other party was really capable. He had looked for Taoist priests before, but he couldn't find them at all. He couldn't search them on the internet. In reality, he also found that many of them were swindlers, but he couldn't find many of them who were truly capable. So Huang Yuan, after Lu Qing learned about Bai Yi's existence, he immediately agreed that as long as Bai Yi could solve the problem of this building, he would be willing to pay no matter how high the price was. The key is not this building, but the people around him. It seems that something is wrong recently, and he is also a little scared. "Okay, I'm right here at the Victoria Hotel. Come over if you have time." "Okay, I'll be here right away, please wait a moment, Master." Huang Yuan was excited and threw his cell phone to Lu Qing. Then he picked up the coat on the side and looked at Lu Qing and said, "Come with me to meet the Master." "Okay, boss." Lu Qing's eyes lit up, and he followed immediately. Along the way, he also told Huang Yuan about Bai Yi. Although he didn't know much about it, he could see that Bai Yi was not the kind of person who was difficult to get along with. As long as their postures don't look unruly, it's easy to talk to Bai Yi when they get along normally. Victoria Hotel, Huang Yuan decided on the best position, and then invited Bai Yi to come to the box. Although he had seen Bai Yi showing off his power in the video before, when he saw Bai Yi, he had to sigh, if he hadn't seen it himself, would really regard Bai Yi as a liar. "Master Bai Yi, this is the menu." "You're welcome." Bai Yi took it and clicked a few at random. Then he raised his head and looked at him and asked, have you been haunted by ghosts recently? No, it's not that you have been haunted by ghosts. The evil energy on your body is much lower. It should be you. Maybe the family members are haunted by ghosts, that this boss is really unlucky. His building was targeted by a ghost, and then he was also targeted by a ghost, although it seems that he has not been targeted by ghosts at present. Judging from his face, people close to him have been haunted by ghosts, and he is probably not far away from them. Listening to Bai Ye's words, Huang Yuan's face flashed with surprise, and then he nodded repeatedly. Even before he said anything, Bai Ye judged it. He was worthy of being a master. Master, I'm actually not sure if she's been haunted by a ghost, but my daughter has been acting strange recently, so. Without any hesitation, Huang Yuan told Bai Ye about his daughter's recent series of strange phenomena. His daughter just entered college from her senior year of high school this year. At first, his daughter was fine, but later he discovered something was wrong. The daughter who used to be a good girl recently dyed her hair yellow, then started getting earrings, playing with motorcycles, and even almost followed the gangsters. If he hadn't arranged for bodyguards, then his daughter would probably have died. I'm going to be taken away by the gangsters. And he wasn't forced, he left voluntarily. He noticed the changes in his daughter at first, but he just thought that his daughter might want to change herself, so he didn't pay too much attention. However, as time went by, he realized that something was wrong. Fortunately he discovered it in time. During this period of time, he had been locking his daughter at home. However, because of the lock, she also started a hunger strike and a series of other actions, and kept saying that he would commit suicide if he did not unlock her. This also gave Huang Yuan was frightened. Is the ghost possessed? Bai Ye thought for a while and soon understood the reason. It was most likely that she was possessed by a ghost. The originally good girl suddenly changed her personality. Either she encountered a great stimulus or was possessed by a ghost. And judging from the possession situation, it should be possessed by the ghost of a female gangster. When did she scream about suicide? 3 days ago. That's okay. Let's go back after dinner. After hearing this, Bai Ye immediately stopped worrying. Since the other party had been shouting for 3 days, there was no need to be anxious for such a moment. Compared with Bai Ye who ate the meal very comfortably, Huang Yuan was very anxious. After Bai Ye finished eating, he almost wrote it on his face that he should go back soon, but considering Bai Ye's attitude, he could only swallow this sentence. No words were spoken. Okay, let's go. Bai Ye didn't want to torture anyone, so he could naturally leave with him after eating. Following Huang Yuan to a villa area, Huang Yuan welcomed Bai Ye into the villa, pointed to his daughter's room, and said, Master, this is it. I don't know what your solution requirements are, but as long as you can solve them regarding this question, you can make a request to me, and I will agree to it as long as I can do it. I had learned from Bai Ye before that not only was her daughter possessed by a ghost, but the ghost might also target them later. Now he just wants to get rid of the ghost quickly by Bai Ye. 10 million Hong Kong paper. Huang Yuan was rich, so he would naturally ask for more, but he would not ask for something so exaggerated. After hearing Bai Ye's request, Huang Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. If he wanted his entire company, he would still give it to him in the end for the sake of his own life. But this is still uncomfortable, but 10 million is just water, he would even put in some more like last time. Okay master, let me take you in. With that said, Huang Yuan opened the door and led Bai Ye into the room. The moment the door was opened, the girl lying on the bed stared at the visitor fiercely. You old thing, hurry up and let me go, or I will die in front of you. Looking at Huang Woody on the bed, a trace of distress flashed across Huang Yuan's face. My daughter used to be so well-behaved and sensible, but now she has become like this. It's really heartbreaking to think about it. Thinking of this, he turned to look at Bai Ye and asked, Master, can you solve it? Okay, it's just a little ghost possessing me. Bai Ye nodded, and then hit Huang Woody on the forehead with a spell. This time, you can't kill the opponent directly with thunder, otherwise the girl will also die together. Taoist. The ghost seemed to feel a hint of danger. The sharp voice resounded throughout the room, and the explosion seemed to pierce their eardrums. You can't kill me, not even a woman like me. Even if she is going to die, you don't want your daughter to die, right? She felt the threat of death and quickly threatened her, but seeing that Bai Yi seemed to have no intention of stopping, she continued to beg for mercy. Don't kill me, I will definitely be a good girl in the future, and I can also be your daughter. Do not kill me. It's just a cry before death. Bai Yi said calmly, the ghost will be killed in a moment, and he can wait for the ring of merit to bring more merit. Dad, this is me, I'm Woody. I'm so scared. Can you come over and talk to me? That the originally crazy girl seemed to have changed her face at this moment, her expression was soft and pleading. When Huang Yuan saw her appearance, he subconsciously leaned over, but before he could take a step, he was pulled by Bai Yi. She is still in your daughter's body, and you were in danger in the past. Listening to Bai Ye's words, Huang Yuan stopped subconsciously. At this moment, the girl on the bed also knew that she would definitely be killed. She stopped pretending, stared at Bai Yi and Huang Yuan fiercely and said, Why? Why can this woman have everything, and I am the best in society? At the bottom? My father gambled, my mother was sick, and I had a younger brother who was studying. I had to shoulder the physical burden since I was a child. I dropped out of school when I was 12 years old and went out to work. I fight with people on the street every day just for the little land and money. Why can she enjoy a life of fine clothes and fine food since she was a child? This belongs to me. Who told her to touch me before? This is the best carrier. Why not let me enjoy this kind of life? The female ghost's shrill screams resounded throughout the room. She was not angry and also felt unwilling to accept her fate, because it was not easy for her to have such a luxurious life. Why are some people born in Rome, while others are born as cows and horses? Some people even have Rome to celebrate their birth, but they have nothing and have to rely on themselves for everything. She kills people, performs abortions, smokes and drinks, but she is also a good girl, and who doesn't want to be a good girl? So you have always had the chance to commit suicide these days, and the reason why you don't commit suicide is because you can't let go of this body, right? Bai Yi looked at the female ghost with a smile and said sarcastically, the other party was a gangster, and he finally had the opportunity to live the life of a young lady, so naturally he couldn't let go of this body. It's just a pity that her living habits are doomed. If she had disguised herself better, Huang Yuan wouldn't be able to tell it at all, but when she took control of this body, she probably couldn't change her previous habits. She started dyeing her hair again, smoking, drinking, and getting earrings, and even had to have sex with her children. The gangster went to book a room. Of course Huang Yuan could see such a huge change. But I'm curious about one thing. Your soul should be able to leave the body, right? It's not like ghosts can't leave the body. And why can't I feel the ghost energy in you? This soul seems to have merged with the other person. It can only be judged by the way you behave. What the hell are you? That it was Bai Ye's first time to encounter this kind of ghost. There was no ghost energy, not even Yin energy, at all from her body. It was as if she was exactly the same as a normal person. If the other party was disguised as Huang Woody in front of him, he wouldn't even be able to detect it. This also surprised Bai Yi, but at the same time, the other party didn't seem to be able to get out of the body, because he originally wanted to kill the other party instantly instead of torturing her. But Bai Yi saw that there was no Yin Qi in the other party's body, but he was just like ordinary people. He also wanted to see if the other party's soul could leave the body, but unfortunately it seemed that it couldn't be done at all. Otherwise, there would already be a risk of the soul being dispersed. This ghost would not be able to return. Stay inside this body. I won't tell you, the smelly Taoist priest. Even if this woman is immortal, she can't be saved. What I can't get, she won't get in this life. Old thing, we can live in peace. I just enjoy this kind of life. Since you asked a Taoist priest to deal with me, your daughter won't have an easy time either. The female ghost's shrill voice finally calmed down, but Huang Woody, who was lying on the bed, had a trace of pain on his face and then returned to calmness. Taoist priest, my daughter. One of her 3 souls was lost, and it wasn't swallowed by the ghost, and it's no longer in her body. Bai Yi said lightly, this ghost seems to be indeed unusual and very weak, but it can possess people and is no different from ordinary people. At the same time, it can also squeeze out the soul that originally belonged to the owner of this body. Are those ghosts whose evil spirits have long been released?